Yo, 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 what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking, all right? So shout out to everybody who is in the building early. It's good to see each and every one of you. If you can hear me okay and everything looks and sounds good on the screen, please give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you cannot hear me and things are looking and sounding bad, please give me a thumbs down or angry face. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to shout out everybody who's in the building early. All right. Shout out to Miss Nisi. What's good with it, Miss Nisi? Shout out to Deneen. What's good with it, Deneen? We got Katsy in the building. Shout out to Katsy. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Make sure y'all throw some mod enforcers in the or some like enforcers in the chat for Brooklyn Queen for enforcing the likes. Appreciate you, Brooklyn Queen. Shout out to my man AB Promotions. My man Betterworth is in the building. And everybody who has not said anything yet, it is good to see you as well. All right. So we're gonna continue talking about this birthright citizenship debate. We're going to keep asking the question, who can get deported, because there seems to be a lot of interesting opinions about this. We're going to react to a video from a different attorney, all right? And this different attorney had a different perspective than the ones that we watched yesterday, all right? And we were also going to ask the question, are the Democrats reacting to ICE differently than they've reacted to the police in the past? That is my question for you all, okay? That is my question for you all. So we are going to get into this. I'm trying to see where to start at. Shout out to Lehman Lucas. What's good with it, bro? I think we may as well just kind of start with this may as well start with this attorney video. I was going to start with something else, but we'll start with this attorney video. All right, let's check this out. This video here is by this guy named the attorney Andrew Branca. All right, how many people have ever heard of this quote unquote attorney Andrew Branca? If you guys have ever heard of him, give me a thumbs up. If you have not, then give me a thumbs down. We're going to listen to his take on this situation and we're going to review it. All right, let's go.
Believe that birthright citizenship is so obvious that surely the plaintiffs here have to win. That Trump's executive order, this executive order on birthright citizenship, clearly, it's obviously unconstitutional. It is so obviously unconstitutional. How can anyone question it? Like this account says, birthright citizenship is in the plain text in the Constitution.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. Where did birthright citizenship originate from? It originated from the 14th Amendment, right? Where did the 14th Amendment originate from? The 14th, shout out to Shatera. What's good with it, Shatera? The 14th Amendment originated post-Civil War as a result of the Emancipation Proclamation, right? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. Now, here's my question. How many people remember Sheriff Alex Villanueva? Sheriff Alex Villanueva is a sheriff who, quote unquote, possibly could be a part of some police gangs like the Executioners out in California, right? And Sheriff Villanueva got on many platforms and openly spoke out against and attempted to say that Black history is false. It's a lie. It's made up. Just like Just Pearly Things did. Now, if it's a lie, then where did this 14th Amendment come from? And my question is, if it's a lie, why are these people using it for their own benefit? That's my question. You have people who literally use every opportunity that they can to downplay your history here in the United States. These are the very people begging ICE not to put them on a plane and trying to get into the United States using a law that was created as a result of our circumstance here in the United States, and the Democrats playing right along with it. Now, this tweet up here, it says, courts will invalidate it. Birthright citizenship is in plain text in the Constitution, and the history of this provision clearly supports it. See also U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark. This EO is pure theater. Now, if you guys agree with this tweet, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And if you haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor, take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell, and also please share the stream to your social media.
See also U.S. v. Wong Kim Ark, which is an 1898 Supreme Court decision that touches on the question of birthright citizenship. And many people believe this. Many people believe birthrights. Everyone knows birthright citizenship is the truth, is the law. It's in the plain text of the 14th Amendment, isn't it? And I can tell you, as an American citizen who's lived here most of my life, except when I've been occasionally overseas for a time or two, I also believed, I have been told my entire life that if someone's born on U.S. soil, they're an American citizen.
Now, again, is this outdated? Is this outdated? That's my question. Let me know.
Problem is, it's a lie. It's a complete and utter lie. That's not what the law says, and it's not what the 14th Amendment says. And only an extremely superficial understanding of the 14th Amendment.
Shout out to Cameron. What's good with it, bro? Shout out to Volvo. What's good with you, Volvo?
It could lead someone to that conclusion. Now, of course, there are powerful forces for whom that conclusion is very important. It's really important to powerful people and institutions and agencies.
Now, again, what I need you guys to do for me is I need you guys to compare the Democrats' action and the Democrats' position against ICE in comparison to how they deal with police. I want you guys to understand the Democrats are trying to change federal law, right? But they couldn't even get qualified immunity put through. How many people would agree the undocumented theatrics is BLM on steroids? If you guys would agree the undocumented antics is BLM on steroids, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down.
That the incorrect understanding be accepted as the law. The incorrect understanding being that anyone born on American soil, regardless of the nationality status of their parents, is automatically an American citizen. Certainly the Democrats need this because actual American citizens are no longer voting for them, are discarding the Democrat Party. That's why actual American citizens are being displaced by tens of millions of illegal migrant third world invaders. And of course, the Democrats want the baby.
Shout out to Win Loser Rug. What's good with you, bro?
Babies those invaders have to also be counted as American citizens, even better than the illegal migrants. Now they're not just counted for purposes of house apportionment and electoral votes and how much federal funding a state receives, talking to you, California. But of course, the babies, if they're accepted as American citizens, also get to vote. A whole new generation of voters for Democrats, of purported American citizens.
Now, I want to ask you guys this question. Does what this guy says make sense so far? If what he's saying makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't, then give me a thumbs down. And again, right, I'm trying to get the consensus on the comparison of how the Democrats are dealing with ICE versus how the Democrats have dealt with the police in the past. How many people feel that the Democrats are fighting a much more aggressive and heartfelt battle against ICE than they have against the police. As a matter of fact, what successful movements against the police have Democrats actually made? As much as they talk about defund the police, and as much as the Republicans try to take the narrative and act like police have been defunded all over the place, where have police actually been defunded at? Where? When have the Democrats ever said, quote unquote, abolish the police? But the Democrats will cry, abolish ICE all the time. How many Democrats got arrested on behalf of Breonna Taylor? How many Democrats got arrested on behalf of George Floyd? How many Democrats got arrested on behalf of Rodney King? Better question, how many Democrats got arrested on behalf of Martin Luther King? I mean, they're out here getting arrested. People should take note of that.
Unfortunately for this argument, that's
Shout out
not
to
the
Leonard.
law.
What's good with it, bro?
Here is the relevant portion, the citizenship portion of the 14th Amendment. And if you just were to take kind of an idiot's view of it, it looks like maybe it does provide for so-called birthright citizenship. It says, all persons born or naturalized, but let's focus on born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States. And
subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Are undocumented people subject to the quote-unquote jurisdiction of the United States? If they're not citizens? If they're not naturalized? How do you become subject to the jurisdiction of the United States? That's the question.
of the state wherein they reside. Isn't that birthright citizenship, Andrew? It says right there, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Well, it does say that, but it doesn't just say that. And that's the problem. There's two conditions that have to be met, and they're separate conditions. Born in the U.S. and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And jurisdiction thereof in this context means more than, for example, the criminal jurisdiction. Because this is not an amendment dealing with criminal law. This is an amendment dealing with political law.
Now, and I would agree with this, right? This is an amendment dealing with political law. So an undocumented migrant would have to be dealt with criminal law. The assumption in this section 1 of the amendment is that there have been no criminal acts involved with the production of the person born in the United States. A criminal act would subject the parent to jurisdiction of removal by U.S. Immigration and Customs Services. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Carlton. What's good with it, bro?
With citizenship. Obviously, everyone physically present in the U.S., whether you're a tourist or an invader or an American Native Indian or here on a work permit or an American citizen, if you're physically present within the borders of the U.S., of course, you're subject to our criminal jurisdiction. But this means more than that. It has to be mean more than that, or we wouldn't need that phrase subject to the jurisdiction at all. Because you're automatically subject to criminal jurisdiction, for example, simply by being physically present. If you're born here, you're physically present. So, of course, by default, you're subject to the criminal jurisdiction. The only reason to include subject to the jurisdiction thereof as a separate clause from being physically present, from being born here, is that it means something different than merely being physically present. And in fact, it does mean something different. It means subject not merely to criminal jurisdiction, but to the political jurisdiction of the U.S.,
i.e., someone who's under the jurisdiction of the Constitution already. Someone encompassed by the complete jurisdiction of the Constitution, not just someone subject to criminal jurisdiction, someone who can partake in the Constitution, someone who is subject to tax jurisdiction, all of that stuff. Undocumented people do not fit those two categories. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down.
and more importantly, exclusively to the political jurisdiction of the U.S. And how do we know this? Because the men who wrote and debated and ratified the 14th Amendment explicitly told us that's what it meant. I'm going to show you a bunch of quotes here, and you'll see the font is kind of weird. This is actually imagery from the contemporaneous congressional record. When this question of the 14th Amendment citizenship
Intuitively Wise
was being debated. And I don't want to go through the whole document. That would take too long. I'm just going to ask you to trust me that, first of all, what I'm showing you is the argument among the senators. I don't identify a senator with every quote here. And also, take it on my word that there was no opposing argument. There was 100% consensus among every one of these senators debating and ratifying the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause.
Now, what does it say right here? What does it say right here? Mr. Salisbury, I do not presume that anyone will pretend to disguise the fact that the object of this first section is simply to declare that Negroes shall be the citizens of the United States. Why is this even a debate? Why is this even a debate? There can be no other object. Now, why would this statement here say, I do not presume that anyone will pretend to disguise the fact that the object of this first section is simply to declare that Negroes shall be citizens of the United States? Why are you bringing race into it? Right? Why are you bringing race into it? Well, why'd you bring race into it?
That this is what it meant. As examples, this senator, I do not presume that anyone will pretend to disguise the fact that the object of this.
Now, listen, I want you guys to understand, you got conservatives having to post content like this to substantiate their position in justifying mass deportations. They have to cop. They got to cop. And yet and still, no one is coming with that anvil of pressure to get them checks. They got to cop. They got to post content like this. Now let's run this back. Well, why would we be talking about Negroes? I thought y'all said, is this a situation where we got slavery affecting people that are alive today? Let me ask y'all this question. Is this a situation where we got slavery affecting people who are alive today? Now, mind you, if the Democrats really, truly wanted to work on getting that quote unquote economic justice, they would be all over this. Because they got an open, gaping wound that salt can be poured in right now. But interestingly, no parties are really doing that. And the question that we got to ask is why? Facts. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. We got the location pins on them like Drake's house, right? We got the location pins on them like Drake's house. What's up? No one is making a move. one thing that everybody has in common is that no one's making a move. Ain't that kind of weird?
This citizenship section is simply to declare that freed black slaves shall be citizens of the United States.
Wait a minute. It wasn't that many slaves, though, right? There wasn't enough slaves. Such a small percentage of white people had slaves that it really wasn't a big deal anyway, right? Isn't that what they said? So, I mean, so few white people had slaves that, I mean, you know, how did this become such a major part of the Constitution? I mean, I just don't understand. When do they change the Constitution for things that a few people do? I find it ironic that the white guy is talking about freed black slaves, and the black attorney yesterday said nobody alive today was born of a slave. We living in clown world. We're living in clown world. We are truly experiencing the Mandela effect. The black lawyer yesterday, he said nobody alive today was born of a slave. Something that I would expect this lawyer to say in regards to this argument. But in regards to this argument, this lawyer is substantiating the myth of American slavery, because on the right, it's a myth. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said the white guy will be punished for getting off code. Nah, he's not. He's not getting off code, right? Don't get it twisted. He's not getting off code. You know what I'm saying? He's using factual data to substantiate his stance. And this is just out there, right? So, you know, he's not saying, well, and then, you know, we could retroactively take this argument and then discuss the D and the I and how the E was left out, and the E would equal reparations because there was no equity, because there was years of Jim Crow, right? Oh, no. He's not doing that. He's just doing this for Trump. Because he's probably a conservative and probably supports Trump. But the ironic thing is that these arguments are out here, right? And you have people having to quote and having to substantiate things that they could barely form their mouths to say before. And and you got conservatives saying this with their chests out. And while people have to cop to this, as we see slavery causing disturbances in the legal environment today, the people who should be shifting the conversation to how slavery is causing disturbances in the financial environment today are either quiet or engaged in diaspora wars. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Not invaders, not illegal migrants, not people unlawfully present within the U.S. The purpose of the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause is exclusively to ensure that freed black slaves who would otherwise be stateless were recognized as American citizens in the aftermath of the Civil War, which of course is when the 14th Amendment was ratified.
Hence why I say that this amendment is null, void, and outdated. There's no black people, black Americans at least, alive today that can squeeze any benefit from this 14th Amendment in regards to this context any longer. So now you're locked out of the 14th Amendment, which your ancestors sacrificed for to allow people who don't even validate your history to use this as a walking mat to come into the country illegally. And the party that you voted for 60 years at an 80% rate is opening the door for them to do that. I mean, this should be crystal clear. If it's not crystal clear, please. Right? If it's not crystal clear, let's try to get it to where it's crystal clear. And shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell, and also please share the stream to your social media. Where was the undocumented problem in the United States back in these days? Well, the undocumented problem where the waves of invaders were coming from, it was a wave of European invaders who were constructing the United States. So they weren't going to make these laws against themselves. They're making these laws of people who are caught in the crossfire, who were not immigrants at all. It was the immigrants, it was the immigrant Europeans making these laws. So it was immigrant Europeans making laws about who could and couldn't be in the country that they immigrated to. So in this situation, it was immigrant hands on the pens defining who could and couldn't be in the United States. My question is, the immigrant Europeans who made these laws didn't make these laws to restrict immigration or to control immigration in any way. They made these laws to deal with people who were here as they were constructing the political framework of the United States post-Civil War. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. So again, this is one of the reasons why I've always said this. The 14th Amendment has been perverted. And people have been voting for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party's entire basis is on a civil rights grift, a civil rights amendments grift. Everything that the Democrats stand for is derived out of the civil rights amendments, and the maximum benefit of those civil rights amendments had a timeline for Black Americans, and that timeline is up. These amendments will no longer be able to do anything productive for us because these were meant to address post-Emancipation Proclamation conditions, not America in 2025. Things are different now. Shout out to Notorious B.I.G. Things done changed. So here's my question. What is it that people don't understand about this? I don't understand what people don't understand about this. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. This is a very clean and easy to deal with argument. A very clean and easy to deal with argument. Let's continue.
Another senator here.
So now again, even in the 14th Amendment, right? Going back to that live stream that we talked about yesterday, even if the 14th Amendment was not written, if there was some delusional deportation effort against Black Americans, based on this legislation, based on these discussions, where would the destination of origin be that Black Americans would be deported to? That's my question. That's my question. As much as people binge watch this kind of content, right? Literally everyone should have instant answers to any of these questions that I'm asking. But the problem is that the content about this kind of stuff that people binge watch, it doesn't address any of the technicalities. And I don't know if you're not dealing with the technicalities, then you're simply watching things for entertainment. Right?
This will not, of course, the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause, include persons born in the U.S. who are foreigners.
Now, do you notice how he described talking about freed slaves, yet the freed slaves have never been called foreigners? Before freed slaves were freed slaves, when they were slaves, they still weren't called foreigners. Why is that? Shout out to Jesse. What's good with it, bro? Why is that?
Aliens who belong to the families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States. Does not include people born in the U.S. who are foreigners. Now, you may be thinking, well, how are you a foreigner if you're born in the U.S.? Obviously, the contemporaneous senators believed you could be born in the U.S. and still be a foreigner.
If you're from China and you're on a vacation in the United States and your wife is pregnant and your child is born in an American hospital, it's more than likely that that child is not going to absorb American culture when you guys are done with your vacation and you go back to China. Right? I want to ask you guys this question. How many people have been born in a state that's not their residency? I mean, this kind of situation happens all the time. So what is it that people don't? And again, I don't understand why. Again, why in clown world of 2025 is this guy making arguments that are accurate in regards to this particular situation, but quote unquote alternative attorneys are making arguments and not really trying to justify anything, but just simply creating hypothetical situations to try to scare people. We're living in clown world. If you guys would agree we're living in clown world, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, we're not living in clown world, give me a thumbs down.
Ratifying the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause, that this is what it meant. As examples, this senator, I do not presume that anyone will pretend to disguise the fact that the object of this citizenship section is simply to declare that freed black slaves shall be citizens of the United States.
End of discussion. End of discussion. How many freed black slaves came into the United States illegally? As a matter of fact, black slaves were not only required to be in the United States because of the slavery and the slave owners, they were required to be in particular places under the jurisdiction of their owners, quote unquote. If black people escaped anywhere, they would get returned back to somewhere in the United States. I remember that guy's name I was trying to think of yesterday. Anthony Johnson is the name of the guy, right? When black people escaped the plantation, they didn't get deported outside of the United States. They got returned back to the plantations in the United States. There is no extradition destination, right? So even when black people were slaves, they never got out of the United States because the United States was a prison for black people. Your punishment was being here. So they're not going to send you somewhere else. Any escapee descendants of slaves or slaves were always returned to a location in the United States, even before Black people were considered citizens. So the return destination for Black people has always been to the United States. There's never been an extradition destination for Black people. So where would Black people where would Black Americans, descendants of slaves, get deported to? Where would they go? Where would we go? Any Black American escapee was always returned to a place in the United States. If I'm incorrect on this, please correct me. Now, the Black people who escaped slavery, their families didn't come into the United States by their own free will illegally. That didn't happen. So the circumstances behind this entire thing are different. You know what I'm saying? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Betterworth. I appreciate you, bro. Make sure y'all show Betterworth some love. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for Betterworth for funding the organization. Definitely appreciate you, bro. Betterworth says, realistically, isn't this right on par with the Democrats actively fighting against anything that benefits Black people exclusively? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, again, I don't understand. Like, I want you guys to understand, in this situation, both political parties have a motive, right? I'm not about to sit here and tell you that Trump or the conservatives or Republicans are doing this because they love you so much, because we all know that that's a lie, right? But this battle in regards to this situation should open people's eyes to how the Democrats have perverted and diluted these laws that were meant to deal with integrating slaves, freed slaves, and descendants of slaves into the United States. These laws were not even, they didn't even have immigration and customs services. These laws weren't meant to deal with immigration. These laws don't put parameters on immigration. So the fact that a bunch of ADL Democrat lawyers have perverted your history to garner financial support should be outraging. Should be outraging. A bunch of SPLC, ADL, Democrat lawyers who wouldn't let you say anything in regards to weaponizing World War II to improve your life are literally selling your history as a political lobby. And it doesn't matter who or what you are. No one's doing anything about it. People are deflecting away from this issue, what's going on, to find somebody else to fight with. This is the issue right here. This is the issue right here. And if anybody is confused as to why no kind of progress is being made or will be made, it's because of diversionary tactics. Well, we're just not going to deal with this situation. We're gonna just do something else. All right, I guess. Shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you guys. We got 21 people watching. We got 15 likes. Let's get those 6 likes so we can get on 1-to-1.
Not invaders, not illegal migrants, not people unlawfully present within the U.S. The purpose of the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause is exclusively to ensure that freed Black slaves who would otherwise be stateless were recognized as American citizens in the aftermath of the Civil War, which, of course, is when the 14th Amendment was ratified.
Now, here's my question, right? Why haven't more people reacted to this video right here? This one right here. Because I think this guy does a pretty sound job, at least, you know, in articulation and bringing up clips of breaking this down. I'll tell you why. Because the people who act like they care about this so much, they truly don't care about the technicalities, because they're not even qualified to be able to get anything changed. They don't know the first step in how to do it. They just want to feed into people's emotions. And as long as people's emotions get fed into, it activates the YouTube algorithm, and then the AdSense dollars flow. And that's really what it's all about. So I'm going to just make a whole bunch of videos titled Birthright Citizenship and just roast people, instead of being like, hey, grab this piece of paper and take notes on this, so that you just don't say the same comment in comment sections all across YouTube. So you can actually provide cerebral dialogue on these things and actually build a generations and generations and generations of people who have a sound understanding of this, so that people can take ownership of their circumstance. No one wants to do that, though. It don't matter what side of the tracks you fall on. We alone out here. You know what I'm saying?
Another senator here. This will not, of course, the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause, include persons born in the U.S. who are foreigners, aliens who belong to the family.
So in the chambers, when this law was being created, the senator notes literally said, this will, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, aliens, who belong to the families of ambassadors, foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States. This will not, of course. This will not. So if the 14th Amendment will not include persons who are born in the United States, who are foreigners and aliens, how can undocumented people get birthright citizenship? How? It doesn't make any sense.
Families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States. Does not include people born in the U.S. who are foreigners. Now, you may be thinking.
Shout out to MC Fact. MC Fact said, what's this world coming to? The white attorney, Andrew Branca, is more black than the black attorney yesterday. Well, I've said these things a long time ago. Between any type of nationalism, there's always a convergence, first and foremost, because the ideas are the same. It's just the people that are a part of these particular ideas. You could take out, fill in the blank, and all the arguments that all of these people have. That's why I call it the Karenization of the United States. Pro-blacks got the same talking points as white supremacists. That's why pro-blacks and white supremacists get along all the time. You hear these talks of, you know what I'm saying, you know, Malcolm X, quote unquote, sitting down with grand dragons, and, you know what I'm saying, all these popular content creators, you know what I'm saying, they get white supremacists on the platforms and, quote unquote, have, quote unquote, good conversations. In my opinion, the only good conversation to have with a white supremacist is, please, you know what I'm saying, tell me, you know what I'm saying, if you're about to black out, and then I'll stop hitting you. You know what I'm saying? That's the only good conversation that I could possibly have in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Or you're you know what I'm saying? Stop, Rob. You know what I'm saying? I can't breathe, you know, because they like the I can't breathe stuff. But I don't think they like the I can't breathe stuff when it's them that can't breathe. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's that, right? And then there's the element, the base level of nationalism, right? The base level of if you listen to all of these people, the pro-blacks and the white supremacists, they use the same talking points, just in opposite directions. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Mad Lib. Shout out to Jesse. I'm not. You know what I mean, bro. I guess I'm talking about the commercialized cookie cutter ones. You know what I'm saying? There's the purity arguments and just all of this, you know what I'm saying? All of this weird stuff, right? A lot of stuff that in many cases is fringe and not founded in data. You know, people use this as much. If you listen to a lot of those really, you know, pro-black people, a lot of really pro-black people talk about sub-Saharan Africans and how there's a small, you know, amount of Neanderthal DNA, and you know, people are proud of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we the real humans. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Then you listen to a bunch of white supremacists, and white supremacists tell you how smart white people and Asian people are because of the Neanderthal DNA. These people use the same arguments. They're all cut from the same cloth. I find it fascinating that they can't stand each other, and they're literally the same skeleton with a different shade of paint on the outside. They're all race simps, all trying to create nonsensical talking points to hoard all the women because they can't get any. It all comes down to simping for the most part. You know what I'm saying? These people are simps. You know what I'm saying? Cucks. Lack of confidence. You know what I'm saying? On either side. That's why they sound the same. They got the same arguments. We could run it down the line. You know what I'm saying? We could take a David Duke speech, you know what I'm saying? And we could run it down the line with a Umar Johnson speech. We could take a white supremacist video talking about white racial consciousness and run it down the line and match it up with some conscious talking points with black people. Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Bro, facts. Both sides are trying to protect their fragile existence. Facts. And the people who are strong out of those sides are not the people who fear a fragile existence, because those people know that they're resilient. You know what I'm saying? So why am I saying that? I'm saying that to say this. I told TD a long time ago that in the future, what you're going to see is this idea of quote unquote, shout out to Patrick. What's good with it, bro? Racism, quote unquote, will be the new common sense in the United States. And see, here's the issue. There's a certain element of base American history that Americans have to cop to. And the reason why you will see a lot of quote unquote black people, quote unquote, sounding like quote unquote white people is because, as much as people don't want to admit this, white people and black Americans, white Americans and black Americans share an extreme amount of cultural similarities because of the United States of America. An extreme amount of cultural similarities that neither party wants to cop to. You know what I'm saying? And that's the facts. And if anybody don't believe me, we can run them facts down the line and I'll show you each one. Somebody can make a video about me and call me a coon, and then I'll run it down the line and show a whole bunch more. Black Americans and white Americans are Americans, which means we have some elements of a shared culture, which means that in many political instances, we will sound similar. As much as people don't want to sound similar, I'm going to try to talk around it so I don't sound like these people. Both do it. They both do it. Now, white people will sit here and pump this and pump this and pump this, but get them on this talking about reparations, they're going to put the brakes on the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Black people will sit there and talk about how much they agree with Trump up until it's time to take a stance. And are you going to vote for him or not? Well, that's when the both sides arguments. You know what I'm saying? That right? So, and again, both of those cultural characteristics are similar to both parties. The quote unquote line balancing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Patrick. I appreciate you, bro. Patrick said a real Twilight Zone is going on with these people. Well, me and TD talked about this a long time ago. The people that have been around on the channel, they know about this. The post-supremacy era. We've been talking about this. You know what I'm saying? For a long time. It came a lot faster than I thought it would come, but it's here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate the liquidity. Make sure you guys show Patrick Tyler some love. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for Patrick for funding the organization.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
Now, shout out to Jesse. Jesse said, yeah, Phil Scott said the same thing about us FBA having a cultural shared experience with white Americans. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a quote unquote cultural shared experience. I wouldn't say anything is quote unquote shared. You know what I'm saying? I would say because we've been forced on top of each other for a long time, there's a lot of unavoidable similarities. We speak the same languages. A lot of, you know what I'm saying, people was Christian. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this kind of stuff, right? A lot of mixed people, that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because of the foundation and the construction of the United States. It's unavoidable. They had last names. We had ownership tags. We had their last names as ownership tags. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of times, and again, you know, I don't want to put this on anybody, you know what I'm saying, as if anybody's saying or doing this, but sometimes people do say and do this. A lot of times people will say that like it's some kind of flex. And sometimes people will get offended, right? I don't say that as a flex. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, we got cultural, like everybody has a shared cultural experience with the Europeans who took over where they was at. Everyone, like that's not something that's exclusive to us, right? Like Black Americans, yes, we are very similar culturally to English and Irish people who came to the United States as a result of living in the United States and as a result of slavery, right? Filipino people are very similar to Spanish people and Hispanic people because of the Spanish conquest, right? It's the same thing. Most non-white people are similar culturally to the white people who took over the places where they were at. So this is just world circumstance as it plays out here in the United States. Now, you know, you see people on TikTok, they'll be all mad at, oh, you trying to, you know what I'm saying, this, that, I mean, it's just a reality. It's a lot of Africans that speak French. You know what I'm saying? Again, why? Because France took over a lot of places in Africa. You know what I'm saying? So again, even beyond outside of Black people, certain Asian people, you know what I'm saying, Latino people and all this kind of stuff, most people who are not white, you know what I'm saying, share cultural similarities to the groups of white people who took over where they was at. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Black people was Christians. A lot of Black people, Southern Baptists. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Latino people are Catholic. A lot of people from Spain was Catholic. It's that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Hey, I appreciate it. Make sure y'all show Brooklyn Queen some love. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for supporting the organization. I definitely appreciate you, Brooklyn Queen. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to feed the liquidity. And she also feeding y'all some cats and dogs.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes.
Where my peoples is at? Does anybody know where he took with now? Cause I heard they putting claws on felines, I'm mad. And my cat disappeared just like Felix the cat. And then got paid back. Thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. If you ain't a pussy cat, say drop that cat. Drop that cat. Drop that cat. Got paid back. Thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. If you ain't a pussy cat, say drop that cat. Drop that cat. Drop that cat. They're eating the dog.
dogs are eating the cats.
The informant, what's good with it, bro? So, you know, shout out to Patrick, right? Patrick asked this question: is it more their culture or ours that we created? Yeah, we speak English, but we had a hell of an impact on American culture. Here's my question: how much of it are people benefiting off of? And honestly, in my opinion, if you ask me, contribution to American culture is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Contribution to American culture is irrelevant. So if you ask me, for one, it doesn't matter what we contributed to as far as American culture, right? Because the thing is that if we contribute to American culture, everything negative that come with America, we got to take that on our backs, right? People talk about Western women. Okay, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, what created Western women, right? So my thing is, the biggest and most important thing is not any contribution to American culture. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying my opinion on this, bro. That's all. Because I hear people say that, right, all the time. And my thing is, I don't know how important that is as a topic of conversation. If you ask me, financial and technological advancement, as they come from particular pockets of people, are the only thing that matter. And those scientific and technological advancements are what creates a cultural legacy. Intellectual property. Now, again, right? Somebody else might value other things, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not taking away from what they value. That's just what I value. That's just what I value. And one of the reasons why I kind of don't really go down that road is because if people wanted to, people could start making those technological and financial leaps forward if they wanted to. Because the future never ends until it does. But when the future ends for everybody. So until the future has ended for everybody, every moment prior to the current right now is always an opportunity to advance culture forward through technology and innovation. But where are people doing that is the question. You know what I'm saying? Where are people doing that? Now, what I'm saying is that people can develop a culture of doing that. A lot of times when it comes to this type of situation, people get deadlocked into this argument of they did this, we did this, we did that. Me personally, I don't necessarily think that really does anything other than waste time. You know what I'm saying? I think that the most important thing would be to have an inventory of production that you've created and say, look at this portfolio. Your portfolio can't touch mine. It's not even a debate. It's not even a debate. Here's what I have in my portfolio. I have quantum computing. I have space travel. You know what I'm saying? The human civilization, the necessity of a culture, is based on the culture's impact of preservation of humanity as a whole, in my opinion. And in many cases, many cultures kind of don't really have a portfolio on that. But there's always an opportunity to build a portfolio on that. But when people are distracted by things that are less important, right, then optimal utilization of time in human life you know what I'm saying, you get into this thing. You know what I'm saying? You get into this thing.
Well, how are you a foreigner if you're born in the U.S.? Obviously, the contemporaneous senators believed you could be born in the U.S. and still be a foreigner. How would that happen? It happens because by default, you inherit the nationality of your parents. And if you're
now, how many people? I agree with that. How many people agree with that? By default, you inherit the nationality of your parents. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Your parents are foreign nationals. You are a foreign national. You're born in the U.S., but you are a foreigner. A foreigner. Another senator.
Hey, shout out to Catsy, feeding the liquidity. Don't be scared to feed the liquidity. Make sure y'all show Catsy some love. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for Catsy for funding the organization. Definitely appreciate you. And she bought y'all seconds.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the march of dimes.
I gotta tell them if they even put the fingernail on Santa's little helper to turn them to hamburger helper. Somebody better help them, cause I'm going to jail for showing them fellas helter skelter. Usually I'm content, but if you touch my dog, then I'm turning into John Wick. I'm lit. Bird better drop it. If you take my pet, then I'm pulling up like CrossFit. Thought overseas where they said Hello Kitty, but it ain't there, it's right here in your city. When I turn my back, now the cat goes missing in the where my peoples is at. Does anybody know where he flipping at? Cause I heard they putting claws on felines, I'm mad. And my cat disappeared just like Felix the cat. And then the cat got paid back. Thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. If you ain't a pussy cat, say drop that cat. Drop that cat. Drop that cat. Got paid back. Thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. If you ain't a pussy cat, say drop that cat. Drop that cat. Drop that cat.
They're eating the dog.
Now, you know, what's that dude's name that be coming in here talking wild? I know you still watching with your clown self. Put your name on the screen so that we can see what your name is. What's dude's name that be coming in here talking crazy? Now, it was these two videos that I made going in on Ron DeSantis, right? No, you still in here watching. Remember I told you I would stalk you one day? Now I'm looking for you. Show up. You know what I'm saying? Remember that video that I made about Ron DeSantis? When Ron DeSantis, they made that AI video when him and Trump was beefing during the primaries or whatever, the preliminary Republican primaries or whatever. And there was an AI video that was released where like Ron DeSantis was calling himself, you know, names and stuff like that, right? I said in the title, AI Ron DeSantis self-roasts. I said that. I got the video removed and a warning for misinformation. And then there was another video about Ron DeSantis. It was called "He Trying to Get His Campaign Stretched." You know what I'm saying? You know, like Suki Hana. You know what I'm saying? Ron DeSantis was trying to get his campaign stretched. And I had this crazy picture of Ron DeSantis with a face looking like he sat down on an upright, thick, veiny cucumber, right? They took it down and said that it was misinformation. Now, it wasn't nothing, no type of false claims or anything. You know what I'm saying? It was an article from Open Secrets about the finances that Ron DeSantis had because he had a strong, you know, financial backing. You know, so hey, shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Brooklyn Queen said I had some issues too sending the chat. Rob, I initially wrote Rob is the rock of the eternal shore, crash against him and be broken. I figured it was my choice of words. That's okay. That's all good. We'll let Apocalypse say it.
I am the rocks of the eternal shore. Crash against me and be broken.
All right. So yeah, they said that it was misinformation. I fought and fought, and then I had a conversation with the YouTube chat, and the YouTube chat conversation was very interesting. Sway the Remix God is the name of that channel. Shout out to MC Fact. Sway the Remix God. Here goes some of Suede the Remix God's classics.
Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing?
Swallowing, goggling.
Tie this bitch up.
Suede the Remix God.
I'll tie this bitch up. Tie this bitch up. I will. Tie this bitch up. I will. Tie this bitch up. I'll tie this bitch up.
Hey, that's so funny, man. That's so funny, man. Man, she got up so fast. She got up so fast. Her titty almost hit her in the face. Look.
Tie this bitch up.
Sweet. She jumped up, and then her titty jumped up.
Tie this bitch up.
Suede the Remix God.
I'll tie this bitch up. Tie this bitch up. I will. Tie this bitch up. I will. Tie this bitch up. I'll tie this bitch up.
That's hilarious. Shout out to DeAndre. What's good with it, bro? Yeah, she wasn't playing. Yeah, but YouTube is wild, man. I'm gonna have to find that. It's gonna be lost in my email by the time I get a chance to talk about it. But we're gonna definitely talk about that. I want y'all to see the BS that they be doing. You know what I'm saying? They demonetized. Look, they demonetized reacts for quote unquote posting other people's content. We never posted other people's content on reacts. Like the whole channel was live streams. You know what I'm saying? Whose content did we post on reacts? They completely demonetized the channel. No strikes, no nothing. We didn't get there's no strike on that channel. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, YouTube does weird stuff. I'm about to start proving all of the weird stuff that YouTube does. I'm about to start proving all of the weird stuff that YouTube does. The same shout out to YouTube. Shout out to the people in the chat. The same people have been watching my channel for years, and there's this simple formula with the YouTube algorithm. As long as your purple line is over your blue line, they're supposed to, with some other factors, distribute your content to different audience. You will be in any one of my channels, and it's always the same people. Except for when I do cryptocurrency streams, then it's half the people because y'all don't be showing up for the crypto streams. But you thought I was afraid to say it? You know what I'm saying? I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm just saying. But yeah, man, that's what they do. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Hey, if you guys agree with Win, Lose, or Rug, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Win, Lose, or Rug said these platforms' only purpose is to shape people's interests. I recently came to that conclusion. Yeah. Shout out to Deneen. Deneen said YouTube's time is about up. They are getting rid of a lot of channels. Yeah, they don't want to pay they don't want to pay people. A lot of people a lot of small YouTube channels making good money, making dough. They don't want to pay all that money. They got to pay a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? They about to downsize for sure. They're trying to find any and everything that they can possibly do to get rid of your channel or to, demonetize it so they can keep 100% of the ad revenue. That's why y'all got to make sure y'all follow me on Rumble too. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that y'all follow the channel on Rumble. Hold on real quick. I'm about to, matter of fact, put the link into the chat. And make sure you join the Discord. See, but that's like pulling teeth, asking people to do that. You know what I'm saying? Here, go over here and smash the like button on that video right there and go share it out. Do me that favor. Go subscribe over there, smash the like button over there, and share the video out.
Indians, talking about Native American Indians, born within the limits of the United States. So they're born within the U.S. but who maintain tribal relations, so their political jurisdiction is not exclusive to the United States federal government. It's split, at least split, with their tribe, are not, in the sense of this 14th Amendment, born subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. If you have divided political loyalty, you maintain allegiance to a foreign government, a foreign nation. When your children are born in the U.S., they are not American citizens. They do not qualify under the 14th Amendment. By the way,
now here's my question. If you guys agree with what he's saying, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with what he's saying, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to you, Katsy. I appreciate you. If you guys agree with what he's saying, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And again, if you ask me, I thought that this was a really good, breakdown of this, a really good video. I'm really shocked, but not shocked, but shocked at the same time, not shocked that more people haven't reacted to this video. Now, people will see that I've reacted to this video, the Ghost Watchers, you know what I'm saying? And then, they'll recommend it to the people that they actually watch and comment in their channels, and they'll do it and skip around as if, I discovered this video, you know what I'm saying? But, ain't nobody doing it.
Native Americans born in the U.S. today do qualify as American citizens, not under the 14th Amendment.
Shout out to Chanel. What's good with it, Chanel?
1925, Congress passed a statute that specifically provided for citizenship for Native Americans born in the U.S. But the 14th Amendment doesn't do that, and there is no similar statute for illegal migrant third world invaders. Another senator. The provision is that, quote, all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens, close quote. That means subject to the complete jurisdiction thereof. What do we mean by subject to the jurisdiction of the United States? Not owing allegiance to anybody else. That is what it means. And of course,
now, so then again, you got to, now again, right? I got to ask this question, right? Now, his foreign allegiance argument is a good argument, right? But it makes you question the United States relationship with certain countries that a lot of our government has a dual citizenship to. Does anyone know who and what I'm talking about? If you do, say it in the comment section. So these arguments are great, but at the same time, the United States doesn't exercise this based on the dual citizenship makeup of people in the country and people who have, quote unquote, the ability to, quote unquote, go back to where they're from freely. What am I talking about? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. And then talking about nanometers, right?
they're talking about is the allegiance of the parents who give birth to this child born on American soil. Same senator. It cannot be said of any Native American Indian who owes allegiance, partial allegiance, if you please.
Right. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Right. They wave those homeland flags proudly when they're protesting. I don't understand that. It's bizarre. Why are you waving your? I don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's like going to the visitor side on a sports event and banging for the home team. It's kind of a weird situation. I can't stand the United States, but you cross the Darien Gap to get here, though. I don't cross the Darien Gap to get places that I don't want to be. I'm not gonna get bit up by exotic snakes and insects that are the size of a rat to come to the United States and say I don't want to be here. Like I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to waste my time with that kind of nonsense. I got other things I could be doing.
I might have forgotten to click a couple of those. Sorry. I was quoting them. Partial allegiance, if you please, to some other government that he is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So a partial allegiance is not enough. It is only those persons who come completely within our jurisdiction, meaning political jurisdiction.
Shout out to Sybil. What's good with it, Sybil? So again, I want to ask you guys this question. Is this guy's argument making sense? If this guy's argument is making sense, give me a thumbs up. If his argument is not making sense and there's anybody that's lost or doesn't get it, then give me a thumbs down. And shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. Also, please share the stream to your social media.
Who are subject to our laws that we think of as making citizens. Another one. I've already replied to the suggestion as to the Native American Indians being subject to our jurisdiction in the context of the 14th Amendment. They are not subject to our jurisdiction in the sense of owing allegiance solely to the United States. Now, all this amendment provides is that all persons born in the United States and not subject to some foreign power.
So again, I mean, he's got the receipts. And these receipts are really substantiating the quote-unquote correct position on this situation. Okay?
For that, no doubt, is the meaning of the committee who've brought the matter before us shall be considered as citizens of the United States. Another senator. I concur entirely with the honorable senator from Illinois in holding that the word jurisdiction, as here employed, ought to be construed so as to imply a full and complete jurisdiction on the part of the United States. Certainly, gentlemen cannot contend that a Native American Indian belonging to a tribe, although born within the limits of a state, is subject to the full and complete jurisdiction. That question has long been adjudicated so far as the usage of the government is involved.
I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just for real to me. I mean, he's laying out a very thorough and complete case.
Another. I understand the words here, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, to mean fully and completely subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. In other words, the parent of the child has no divided loyalties. They are an American citizen. They are not a citizen of a foreign nation. And you might remember this comment says, oh, check out Wong Kim Ark. All right, Wong Kim Ark was a U.S. Supreme Court decision from 1898. It involved a Chinese national. His parents lived in the United States. He was born in the United States. The family took a trip back to China. And on their return to the U.S., his parents were allowed back into the U.S., but he was not. His parents had permanent resident status in the U.S. They were permanently domiciled in the U.S. But he didn't have that status, Wong Kim Ark, the child. And the border officers said, well, your parents have a right to come in. They're permanent resident aliens. But you don't have that status, so you can't come in. And so he argued that I should be recognized as an American citizen. And the Supreme Court in Wong Kim Ark said, yes, you should be recognized as an American citizen. But the specific reasoning is important here. Whether
the reason why he should be recognized as an American citizen is because both of his parents were permanent residents with a permanent domicile in the United States. That's why. His parents were not undocumented migrants. That is just as simple as that. You don't need to have passed the bar examination, or you don't need to have a Juris Doctorate degree to have a lick of common sense. You know what I mean? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down.
The legal question before this court, Supreme Court case, whether a child born in the United States of parents who at the time of his birth were foreign nationals, but have a permanent domicile and residence in the United States, meaning They're making their life in the
Now, what do the permanent domicile and residence in the United States, what does that qualify? The people who have a permanent domicile and residence in the United States, that qualifies them for complete United States jurisdiction. Undocumented people don't have a permanent domicile or residence in the United States, hence are not under full jurisdiction of the United States. It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
U.S. permanently. So they've made a permanent physical commitment to the U.S., and they are there lawfully. The U.S. government has a reciprocal acceptance of their presence. Children born to permanent resident aliens in the United States should be deemed American citizens. But this doesn't apply to illegal migrant third world invaders. It doesn't apply to people who are unlawfully in the U.S., to people who America has not accepted as permanent resident aliens in our nation. It doesn't apply to people who illegally cross the border. It doesn't apply to people who overstay their work visa, their student visa, their tourist visa. It doesn't apply to people who are in the process of applying for asylum status and then get their asylum request denied and no longer have lawful status. It doesn't apply to people who may have been let in, like the Haitians were let in because they turned their nation into a hellhole.
See, there you
And
go.
now that status is...
There you go. He said, now everybody knows what happened with Haiti. Everybody knows that the Clintons have been funding a lot of sabotage in Haiti for a long time. Now, there goes the party line unifications. He, quote unquote, said, Haitians turned their country into a hellhole. Now, who does he sound like? He don't sound like me. So again, that goes back to that whole thing about people sounding the same, where people get their talking points from. Okay? That's not, I would go as far as there's other people that talk about quote unquote Haiti and Haitians too. It ain't just it ain't just the WS's. It ain't just the WS's. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know, you don't see me doing that. But I'm just saying though, Carlton about 2 seconds away from hitting that button. I'm just saying. Right? It's only valid if we say it. You know what I'm saying? It's only valid if we say it. See, that's where you run into problems at. He ain't saying nothing different than anybody would hear on a Twitter space, right? You know what I'm saying? He ain't saying nothing no different than anybody would say on a Twitter space. My man Carlton came with the follow-up. Facts. Carlton came with the follow. He's not saying anything different than you would hear on a Twitter space. Y'all messed your country up and want to come here. How many times you heard that? Okay, he said it. Okay, shout out to the modern investor. Moving right along, right? Right, moving right along. Let's just run that back one more time. Let's just run that back one more time.
Or in the process of applying for asylum status and then get their asylum request denied and no longer have lawful status. It doesn't apply to people who may have been let in.
Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said, actually, I've heard worse on those Twitter spaces. Yeesh. From who? Him? This dude right? Did he say it? This guy right here? You heard it from some other people. Some Kendrick Lamar fans.
Like the Haitians were let in because they turned their nation into a hellhole.
Man. That sounds familiar. So again, you see the convergence. This is the convergence. The convergence of a nationalistic talking point, wherever the nationalism is coming from, is always anybody else who doesn't identify with you racially or nationally. Any issue that those people have, those people are the result of their own self-degradation in any instance. quote unquote, you destroyed your homeland. You destroyed your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Chicago is messed up because you messed it up. These people all say the same thing. They're all the same people. They don't have any talking points. They just copy off each other. You know what I'm saying? They copy off each other and insert race or insert ethnicity. It's all the same. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jesse. Jesse said they call us Akadas, Yankees, and jurors. Now, you know, I don't know what I'm not familiar with the juror, right? We know that the Akada is a feral cat, right? And now here's the thing, right? Yankee is another term for American, right? So if people are out there banging for the letters FBA and you wearing a New York hat, you know what I'm saying? You wearing a New York hat like a lot of the hip hop community and a lot of, you know, people like LeBron James wear the New York Yankees hat. Yankees are Americans, in specific, you know, North Americans, right? Part of the union for the most part. That's what people call Americans. Oh, you a Yankee. You watch Scarface. My daddy was a Yankee. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jesse. I feel you, but this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, who does this guy sound like? That's what I'm saying. Who does he sound like? You know what I'm saying? So, like, now here's my question, right? The first question is, who does he sound like? And the second question is, in the event that an individual like him makes a comment like this, where do people stand on it? That's my question. And I agree. You're absolutely right. Shout out to Jesse. I'm not taking anything away from that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jesse. Jesse said he sounds like Tariq when he's roasting tethers in the Twitter spaces. Hey. So to me, if you ask me, in some instances, for people who take that road, that presents a peculiar bottleneck. And it's interesting because it's not a bottleneck that I've seen dealt with. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said, well, if he had a tan, he would look like Boyce. That's because he got the rich person uniform on. He got the blue button up and the black, you know what I'm saying, the black generic glasses. That's the rich people outfit right there. Shout out to Jesse. Jesse said it's called the Dozens. They try to clown us and we clown them back. I feel that. But here's my question. An individual like this says something like that, right? Where do people agree with this individual here and he's saying the same thing that people have said on Twitter, or do you disagree with him? Is my question. And that's not just for Jesse. You know, that's for anybody. I'm just curious. Shout out to Jesse. Yeah, he sound like Trump. They eating the cats. They eating the dogs. A lot of people sound like Trump. I'm telling you, it's the convergence of nationalism, racism, and common sense all being accepted by all parties. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I find it fascinating that in either situation, no one talks about the European interaction with Haiti. The Europeans who talk about it, right? And the black people that talk about it. All the people that talk about it, for the most part, they give those people a pass. I think it's weird. know what I'm saying? Shout out to Catsy and isolationism. Yeah. Yeah. Black people and white people can kumbaya and, you know, act like they share common interests and, you know, be outraged about everything and then go to their own separate corners and talk crazy about each other. It's the flakeism of America, like the Karenization of America. The American flake is becoming a real thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, it's very interesting. If you watch certain YouTube channels and you took away people's screen names and all you were able to see was comment section, you wouldn't know who people are. You wouldn't be able to tell who people are. Now, here's my thing. If people are so individual and people are so unique, how is it that if you take away the screen name, you wouldn't be able to tell who they are? If they're so unique, why are they all saying the same thing? Are they really unique? I don't think any of these people are really unique. You can't mathematically be unique if you sound like the normal distribution. Just this is math. Yeah, and that's all it comes down to. Shout out to Win, Lose, or Rug. Win, Lose, or Rug. If you guys would agree with Win, Lose, or Rug, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Win, Lose, or Rug said, nah, folks take it seriously. It'd be a bunch of MFs arguing about who Mayo folks like more. It's just bizarre. Things that people do when they should be stacking Satoshis is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? It's beyond me. Now, again, me personally, right? The reason why I say these things and the reason why I pick apart particular things is because I see weaknesses in them. I see flaws in them. I see design errors, right? So, you know, you might like your vehicle, but if one of your lug nuts is loose, you might be appreciative if somebody tells you, hey, you know, you got some nice rims, but one of them lug nuts is loose. You'd rather find out that your lug nut is loose while the car is parked instead of while you're going 70 miles an hour on the freeway, right? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. So I want to know, in a situation where, let's just say, for instance, people are having a conversation in a lunchroom or in a cafeteria or somewhere, and this guy just, you know what I'm saying, decides to say to one of you guys, hey, yeah, you know, people from Haiti, they destroyed their own country. It's a pattern. You know what I'm saying? They do it in Chicago. They do it in every Democrat city. Okay, what's your response? And then he says, and I mean, even a lot of the people agree with it because I hear people saying these things on Twitter all the time. Okay, so now how do you respond to that? That's my question. How do you respond then? So this is why I keep asking, do people agree or do they disagree? And this is the problem with repeated talking points. When repeated talking points are used for debate ammunition, usually the argument doesn't go beyond the repeated talking point. That's why it has to be repeated. Shout out to Jesse. Jesse said, I would more than likely give him a history lesson if I respond at all. I would ask him to explain how Haiti destroyed itself. I would be interested in what kind of history lesson he would provide for me, since he's the one that made the claim. If you make a positive assertion, then the burden of evidence is on you, right? So if you make this positive assertion, okay, what's the evidence behind your positive assertion? See, because somebody like him will throw something like this out, and then people scramble to try to, do whatever it is that they do. You don't need. That's not how conversation works. You don't need to scramble to do anything. if he made a positive assertion, okay, you wait and you let him come with the follow-up of substantiating facts. And then you test the accuracy on each fact. But in these arenas, in many cases, it's a situation of people have such low confidence. Anytime they're attacked, they feel that they just have to explode all over the place. I'm going to tell you something. A laser is way more accurate than an explosion. You know what I'm saying? A scope is way more accurate than a machine gun. But a lot of people like to explode. A lot of people like to rapid fire. I don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say. Actually, I do know what to say. The only thing to say is, how do people feel about the effectiveness of the way that they engage in battle? That's my question. How do they feel about it?
And now that status is overturned, and they're no longer lawfully in the U.S. It does, and they were never intended. Importantly, all these people on temporary visas, work, student, tourist, or on temporary asylum claims, none of them are permanently accepted as residents of the U.S. None of them are in the position of the parents of Wong Kim Ark, and so none of their children are in the position of Wong Kim Ark. So Wong Kim Ark is completely irrelevant as Supreme Court precedent for the illegal migrant third world invaders' children who happen to be born on American soil. By the way, I would argue Wong Kim Ark is bad law. Just 2 years before this decision, the same panel of Supreme Court justices issued the infamous Dred Scott decision that said blacks born in America were not American citizens. That was later overturned by the Supreme Court. So Supreme Courts, especially this one.
So there you go. He mentions that. So again, why didn't the defiant lawyers mention that particular situation, the Dred Scott case? And again, this is content coming from somebody who literally just said Haiti destroyed itself, right? So again, it's my question. You always see people make this comment, quote unquote, particular individuals, quote unquote, don't speak for me, right? But like, I never really see people effectively, quote unquote, speaking with impact for themselves. I don't ever see it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said, this is how you get to I'm white and I say so. Yeah, you got to have communication strategies. And a lot of people don't have communication strategies. People's communication strategies are voice elevation, jokes, and I have to say the last word. And those aren't strategies that are going to make your point stick. Those are strategies that are going to make you look stupid. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Patrick. Patrick said, Haiti is a S-hole, but the U.S., Canada, France, and the UN got troops, personnel there. Now, again, this guy here, right? So here's my thing. Patrick said Haiti is a shithole, but the U.S., Canada, France, and the UN got troops, personnel there, right? So if the police are a barrier to people's movement and upward mobility in the United States, police issues, right? Police inequities and all that. If the police are causing those issues in places like Chicago, right? Why do people think that a military wouldn't cause that kind of issue? I don't understand. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. These are logical traps that people set for themselves, and they're lucky because they've never encountered people that will throw a monkey wrench into that logic. People do a very good job of keeping people like me suppressed so that monkey wrenches don't get thrown into popular logic and cause people to actually burn some calories thinking. Stop using talking points. Talking points are lazy and they don't win. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's my question, right? And again, it goes back to, well, do people, which one is it, right? Okay, when there's a Twitter roast, it's you can't get it popping in your homeland. When somebody like this said it, it's what the UN, you know what I'm saying? They got troops and stuff over there. I don't understand how a landscape of a situation changes per conversation. I don't understand how the circumstances behind how the country's condition is changes from a Twitter roast to something that, you know, somebody like this guy would say. This is the problem right here. This is moving goalposts, double standards, and intellectual dishonesty. No requirement of logic or facts. There can only be one accurate circumstance. So my question is, what is the accurate circumstance? You know what I'm saying? And whatever the accurate circumstance is, if people are doing roasting or having issues, the accurate circumstance needs to be written into the roast. It needs to be written into the roast. Your roast can't sound like somebody like him and then turn around and try to say somebody like him is saying something that's not appropriate after you're on video and on audio repeatedly saying these things all over the internet. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said, yeah, them MFs revert to logical fallacies. Yeah, logical fallacies, bro, all the time. All the time. Contradictions. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Patrick. Patrick said, well said, Rob. It doesn't help that Haiti has valuable resources. Seems like there's an interest in keeping people and government in chaos. Always. Any place where there's valuable resources. The poorest people in the world live in the places where the resources are the most valuable. The poorest places in the world produce the most talented rappers, the most talented musicians, right? The most talented athletes. The poorest places in the world produce the most valuable metals. You would think that people would wake up and see what the trick is, regardless of where you at. But they don't. And the reason why they don't is because people are dumb and people are addicted to their circumstance. So because people are addicted to their circumstance, they fail to see the wider picture, which is a human brain degenerative issue. This is one of the reasons why I truly believe that artificial intelligence is the next step of human evolution, because people have peaked. We're at the peak. We're at the plateau. Humanity has plateaued in its capabilities. Human capability will not expand much over the next 200 years. Technological capability will expand exponentially over the next few years. And that's because humanity has peaked. This is it. For some, for many. You know what I'm saying? People can't even get a grip on their actual accurate circumstance as a result of the flaw of human emotion. Artificial intelligence corrects that by removing the emotion and making logical decisions based on math and based on actual data input. People don't make decisions based on data input. People make decisions based on opinions and emotional input. This is how you can have logical fallacies. This is how you can have a person have two stances on the same topic. My two stances on the same topic are that there was European intervention in Haiti that contributed to Haiti's current conditions. And, you know, Haiti is a crap hole because people can't, quote unquote, get it popping. How are these things the same? How are these two situations existing at the same time. Shout out to Catsy. Catsy says, no, Rob, remember, high intelligence is the defect. We are the exception, not the norm. High intelligence is the defect, is a birth defect. That's a fact. And there's also, they call it Moore's Law. I have a theory called Moore's inverse. And Moore's inverse is, as a semiconductor decreases by half in size and increases by double in strength, human capability decreases exponentially, or human stupidity increases exponentially by 2 squared, and human capability decreases by the square root. Yeah, Moore's inverse. Shout out to Patrick. Patrick says, do you think humanity has naturally peaked, or is it artificially being done? I don't know. But I think that there's a clear pattern of plateaued human capability, regardless of what the source of it may be. And, you know, that's people's burden to bear. That's people's burden to bear. You know what I'm saying?
Accepted as residents of the U.S. None of them are in the position of the parents of Wong Kim Ark. And so none of their children are in the position.
Yeah. Shout out to Jesse. Yeah, this is one of my theories. This is a theory that, you know, this comes from my quote unquote machine theory, right? This is one of my theories. And my theory is that as the same factors in Moore's law's technological increase basically cause a exponential and logarithmic decay of human capability and cognition, basically, is the inverse. So as you see Moore's law with technological capability increasing, you will see a decrease in this in a sharper fashion of human capability. And the reason why you'll see a sharper decrease in human capability is because if technology is moving so fast that it's creating these exponential jumps, humans are going to give those jobs and give those capabilities at an exponential rate to machines, automation, and artificial intelligence, and lose their abilities. You know what I'm saying? So the loss of human ability will occur concurrent and faster than the rate of technological advancement. And the thing is that there's this idea of artificial general intelligence. Artificial general intelligence is only artificial intelligence as it pertains to artificial intelligence's superiority over humanity. If humanity continues to deteriorate, artificial intelligence in its current form could be artificial general intelligence, because there could be a point in the future when people are so dumb that Siri is smarter than people. So at that point, Siri would be the artificial general intelligence, and there wouldn't need to be any technological advances because artificial intelligence would have already surpassed people's capabilities, because people are moving backwards while AI is staying static. But we know that AI isn't staying static. AI is increasing its capabilities at an exponential rate. But if AI just stayed static, people are still deteriorating at a logarithmic deterioration. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jesse. Jesse says, so basically we'll become obsolete in the whole scheme of things. It's just phases of time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you ask me, I believe that people are obsolete currently. When you become more of a stress and more of a tax on the quote unquote habitat in order to sustain your life, there has to be a recalculation in risk and in supply and demand and equilibrium. And if the supply of humans is too taxing on the minerals, resources, and abundance of the planet Earth, then the planet Earth has to correct itself, because it's ultimately Earth's livability that's more important than the human legacy, because the human legacy is only here to maintain the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? We're secondary, tertiary. You know what I'm saying? But many people are not cerebral enough to be able to be acceptant of that. People become obsolete every day. It's called death. You know what I'm saying? Right? If you guys would agree, people become obsolete every day. It's called death. Give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. And this is why people are not comfortable with reality. That's why, like, escapisms like religion and mythology exist, and these ideas. Most technology is created to extend human capability. Nothing's going to extend human capability. There's ultimately always another layer of circumstance that will outdo any type of technology and will mathematically correct any expiration of survival that humans may have. Once humans' expiration date has hit, there's nothing that can be done. It's time for the next phases of the world. The dinosaurs, it happened to the dinosaurs. You know what I'm saying? It happens to many different civilizations. It just is what it is. If people actually valued the gift of a finite life, the gift of a finite consciousness, the gift of being finite, if people understood that and people appreciated it, they would maximize and optimize their finite little lives a lot more than they do. But instead, people don't. The majority of things in the entire universe, from most modern science observation, the majority of things are not alive. From what technology says, a small, minute part of this large container that we live in can be considered, quote unquote, conscious or alive. Let me ask you guys this question. How many people appreciate that and maximize it for its uniqueness? No one. There's some people that actually think that waking up is a burden. And then when it's time for them to not wake up anymore, they want to just wake up one more day. This is humanity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Artificial intelligence is absolutely an evolution on humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Of Wong Kim Ark.
Shout
So
out.
Wong Kim Ark is completely irrelevant
What's good with it, bro? Good to see you.
as Supreme Court precedent for the illegal migrant third world invaders' children who happen to be born on American soil. By the way, I would argue Wong Kim Ark is.
Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said, shout out to Cameron. Cameron said the universe is 99% hostile to our existence. Yeah. And somehow we're still here, and somehow us being here is a burden. I mean, clearly it is. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Win Loser Rug. Win Loser Rug says we're the only species capable of making conscious decisions to shape our future. Facts. The Earth is a protective stronghold that seems to be very good at encasing and fostering life. If you were to ask the specialty, right, of each quote unquote alleged planet, right, you know, I'd say like the sun's specialty is that it's a fusion engine, right? It's not a planet, it's a star, but we would say it's a fusion engine, right? Mercury, you know, it's like a volcano. It's hot, it produces heat. Venus green is the ultimate greenhouse effect, right? But the Earth has shown over millions of years that the thing that the Earth is good at is creating an environment where life of many different kinds can sustain itself. There's more different kinds of life simply on the planet Earth than we've discovered or seen or know about in many different places. And Earth is a very small part of this quote unquote container that we live in. And as unique, right? As unique as life is, I guess people need to have a size comparison in order to be able to see how unique life is if they saw how vast the amount of space is where life doesn't exist. And because we live in a place where life is concentrated and where it exists, we just think it's abundant. I don't think many people really understand how long in length a light year actually is. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people understand how in relation to the entire existence, how short our lives are. Like seconds. It's like a second. As we say dog years, things out in the universe would probably relate us and say in human years. Yeah, shout out to Win Loser Rug. Win Loser Rug said, "Man, 1 light year is longer than a human lifetime." And a light year is so long, it incorporates time into the distance. It is actually a physical distance, also. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the PowerPoint, right? In the PowerPoint, one of the cultural landmarks that I said people should strive for is to create a man-made structure that's 1 light year long. But again, this fell on deaf ears, and I'm sure somebody like Elon Musk will do it and get famous for it. And then people will say, well, there's nobody like us trying to do these type of things. Because that's what people do. People don't escape human behavior. Human behavior is the reason why Fibonacci retracements and Fibonacci sequences predict every single thing. You know what I'm saying? How long is 1 light year in miles? That's the question. Okay. How long is 1 light year in miles, ladies and gentlemen? Is the question. People can't conceive these kind of the problem. This is one of the reasons why people have such difficulty with investment, because the human mind is not, I guess, trained in a way to conceptualize these kind of things, right? 1 light year equals 5 billion. Wait a minute, no. 5,878,625,373,184 miles. That's how long a light year is. 5,878,625,373,184 878,625,373,184 miles. That's a light year. Most people can't even conceptualize something that big. But it's like anything else, right? Just because you can't conceptualize it don't mean that it don't exist. You know what I'm saying?
Bad law. Just 2 years before this decision, the same panel of Supreme Court justices issued the infamous Dred Scott decision that said blacks born in America were not American citizens. That was later overturned by this.
Now, even with the Dred Scott decision saying black Americans born in America are not Americans, at what point after that ruling were black people, quote unquote, deported, and where were they deported to? That's my question. Anybody that got the answer to that question in the chat, let me know. And shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button, please do me a favor, take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please do take a moment and hit that bell. And again, I want you guys to understand. Most people's brain, and again, this is why we see the stuff that we see. This is why we see the stuff that we see. Shout out to Intuitively Wise. Intuitively Wise says, how do you come up with that concept dealing with distance? Which one? You mean the fact that the light year is a measurement of time, or a light year is a measurement in miles? Because a light year is time is always a distance. It's a distance. Any element of time translates to a distance. It translates to a rate. It's always a distance. Any amount of time, right? What is the distance of an hour? A distance of an hour is about a 30-degree movement on a clock. The distance is moving 30 degrees, and then you just measure the length of those 2 points. Right? What is the distance of a day? The distance is a day that you draw a point, and the earth revolves, it turns a circle, a complete circle, during a specific time period. It's always a distance. Time is always discussed in terms of a distance moving forward. Now, if you ask me, that's probably not the only way to discuss time. You know, especially seeing that when it comes to, as you deal with different laws of physics, like inside of black holes, time doesn't have the same properties as it does how we are here. Shout out to James Sumler. So that's how time would operate like that for us, is how we measure it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not all encompassing of the idea of time, because laws of physics determine time's behavior, and laws of physics determine how time moves. You know what I'm saying? We got to deal with the laws of we deal with the laws of physics here. Shout out to Cameron. Cameron says, how long is a galactic year? That's a great question. I'm sure there's a calculation for it. You had to make 1 point somewhere in the galaxy, probably at the farthest length, and however long it takes for the galaxy to revolve around the super black hole that it's a part of. Here's a better question. How long is an existence year? Because there's multiple existences, right? So, and then there's a beginning and an end, maybe. If there is a beginning and an end, the beginning and the end could actually be meshed into one thing. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, you know, most people don't dive into that kind of thing to try to have a true grasp or a true understanding of things. You know what I'm saying? Now, shout out to Jesse. Jesse says, distance versus times are distinct concepts. Distance is the amount of space between 2 points, while time is the duration of an event or period. What's the distance between to events. It can be measured in distance, right? What is the distance of a year? The distance of a year is if you draw one point and the time it takes for the Earth to move in the opposite direction of that point and retrace till it reaches that point again. That's a distance, right? You can measure that using trigonometry or geometry in degrees on a circle, right? So time and distance, they are distinct concepts, but in our reality that we live in, they're concepts that have to be related to coherently discuss these things, right? But again, in most cases, people aren't willing to dive down these rabbit holes. People, in most cases, like, people just want to get entertainment, and that's the thing. And people don't take the complexities for the artwork that they are. And it's just, you just sit back and kind of watch it. Shout out to MC Fact. MC Fact said galactic year, the time it takes for the sun to complete one orbit around the center of the Milky Way galaxy, which is approximately 225 million Earth years, which is the same thing that I said, right? So the Earth, so the sun would be a point, right? And the distance of the year is the distance that it travels from that point around the super black hole that's in the middle of our galaxy back to being at that point. You know what I'm saying? So again, but as technology increases, people's capability to think about this kind of stuff, or people's ability to calculate this kind of stuff, will deteriorate more than it already has. It's already deteriorated. This is one of the reasons, if you ask me, the largest existential threat to humanity is stupidity. And stupidity is spreading like a disease, which is one of the reasons why it should be outlawed as a capital crime. But we live in a world that places value on only certain segments of intelligence and not all segments of intelligence. And when you live in a world where that's the case, you run into issues of advancement and issues of innovation. You know what I'm saying? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Supreme Court. So Supreme Courts, especially this one, makes bad decisions that have to be overturned. I would suggest that this was a decision that was expedient at the time when we had lots of Chinese immigrants in America.
Shout out to Cassie, right? I gotta hit you with the Sonny logic. I gotta hit you with the logic like Sonny hit Will Smith. Will Smith was like, you can't turn a piece of canvas into a beautiful artwork. And Sonny just looked at him and simply said, can you? Got him. Got him. You know what I'm saying? Will Smith said, you're just a machine. You can't turn a canvas into a beautiful artwork. Sonny just looked at that fool. He said, can you? Murked. Murked. M-U-R-K-T. Murked.
And we were struggling with how to deal with them and their children, but it's not supported by the actual text of the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment doesn't say that permanent resident aliens get some kind of exception. That's not in the 14th Amendment. So I think this is bad law. But even if you disagree and wish this to be good law, it still does not apply to illegal migrant third world invaders and their children. Thanks for watching.
All right, so I thought that was a good video. You know what I'm saying? Despite, him being him, right? Despite the little comments that he made, I thought it was a good video. I thought he broke it down. I thought he did a good job of breaking that down. Now, how many people are familiar with this individual named Bakari Sellers? We're gonna start calling him Bakari. We're gonna start calling him Bacardi Sellers. Anybody familiar with Bacardi Sellers? On CNN, they asked the question here. Trump. That's how Mike Tyson would say it, right? Trump. That's my guy, Trump. You know what I'm saying? Threatens to deport U.S. citizens for crimes. All right. Okay, now, you know, what does that mean? That's my question. What does that mean? Let's check this out. And again, this, you know, I really got some tales from the cryptocurrency streams that I want to do. And like the news is becoming outdated, right? But when you go down the undocumented rabbit hole and you got all this stuff going on, it just takes so much time to deal with each one of these points. And the sad part about it is that, for one, you know, it's not appreciated. The accurate talking points are never utilized to shut down any debates, you know. And, you know, people, they don't have the attention span. People will sit there and listen to a podcast, you know what I'm saying? But they don't listen to like an entire live stream. And a podcast is the same length as a live stream. I never understood that. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain people will sit there and watch the Joe Rogan show for 3 hours. And then people will sit there and be like, Rob, you stream too long. Your stream is 3 hours long. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not Joe Rogan. Clearly, right?
Tonight, Donald Trump threatens to widen his deportation net to include American citizens.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
I keep.
Oh man. Now here's my question. What do y'all think about that? Now, I want to ask you guys this question. Shout out to Jesse. Jesse said, Rob, sometimes you do 8-hour streams. The only one I know of who do longer streams are Mike TV and Dane Calloway that are black. Yeah, shout out to Mike TV. You know what I'm saying? shout out to Mike TV. You know what I'm saying? I know you rock with Dane. Jesse, it's all good. Shout out to Dane. Shout out to Dane. You know what I'm saying? Mike TV cool though, man. Mike TV cool peoples, you know what I'm saying? I don't know Dane all like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know Dane all like that, but I know Mike TV cool though. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, you know, I don't do those super long live streams anymore. For the most part, usually I go about 3 hours. And the reason why is because I'm genuinely interested in the content that I talk about. You know what I'm saying? If I do like a 5-hour long stream about cryptocurrency, it's because I'm genuinely interested in that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this undocumented, you know, the migrant crisis situation, I'm genuinely interested in it. I only make content about stuff that I'm genuinely interested in. You will know if I'm chasing the algorithm because I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm chasing the algorithm. It's time to grow the channel a little bit. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, you, in most cases, I'm talking about stuff that I'm genuinely interested in. And, you know, most YouTubers don't talk about stuff that they're genuinely interested in. Most YouTubers are slaves to the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said that's why celebrities grift so much. People think they are inherently better than them. So whatever they say is facts. Absolutely. If you guys agree with Win Lose a Rug, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Tonight, Donald Trump threatens to widen his deportation net to include American citizens.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
Now, here's the thing with this, what he said, right? That could be taken a lot of different ways, right? Because I'm not an idiot, and he specifically said these are people born on American soil. They're clearly not under the jurisdiction of ICE. When is the last time ICE deleted a black person with a no-knock warrant? When's the last time that happened? Has it ever happened? So when Trump says get them the hell out of here, when I hear something like this, what I'm thinking is probably increasing the amount of states that do capital punishment, because getting somebody up out of here also means to delete them. And you're not going to get American citizens up out of here by deportation, but you can get American citizens up out of here by deletion. And I think that many conservative places support capital punishment. And the crimes that he talked about are specifically violent crimes that usually end in a terminal loss of life. He said specifically, quote unquote, hitting someone in the head with a baseball bat from behind, deleting somebody, stabbing somebody. When I hear that, because I'm not an idiot and I know that there's no destination for ICE to deport people to that are American citizens, they have no jurisdiction to do this. I'm thinking he's talking about the legal system and increasing the ability of states to be able to utilize capital punishment. He also said maybe that's the next thing that we'll work on. He didn't say maybe it's the next thing that ICE will do, or it's the next thing that I'll direct ICE to do. He said maybe it's the next thing, quote unquote, we'll work on. Trump has been working on that kind of thing because Trump is a pro blue line president. Trump wants to give police a lot of power, right? He wants to have them protected, right? So when he says that, the idea of deportation and that kind of thing, it's not even along the lines of anything that I'm thinking about. But that's where CNN is taking it. That's where CNN is taking it. Now, here's my question. Do you guys agree with CNN's assessment of this situation, or do you think that they're wrong? If you guys agree with CNN's assessment of this situation, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with CNN's assessment of the situation and you think that they're wrong, then give me a thumbs down. I think he wants to give states the right and ability and freedom to be able to enact more capital punishments for quote unquote violent crimes, because what he specifically discussed was quote unquote violent crimes. And if he's talking about American citizens, ICE is not going to deport them. Quote unquote, getting them up out of here is getting them up off of the planet. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what you guys think.
Now, keep in mind, the DOJ is also now threatening to strip naturalized citizens of their legal status for committing certain crimes. All of this comes as Trump is touting the opening of what he's calling Alligator Alcatraz, an immigration facility surrounded by swamp and predators that holds 3,000 people. Republicans are touting it as low cost, complete with water, sewage, and power, and critics call it inhumane. Despite all the sort of theater of the Alligator Alcatraz of it all, Trump's comments today were really stunning. Honestly, American citizens, he's talking about people who were born here and threatening to put them in a deportation facility, deport them, take away their citizenship.
Now, again, right, we saw and heard what Trump said. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything like that. I want you guys to understand, the news puts this kind of stuff out because it works. Like, there's people that actually that believe this stuff. If you guys agree, the news puts this stuff out because it works, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree and you guys think that it doesn't work, then give me a thumbs down. The news puts this stuff out because it works. The news puts it out because it works.
What are we talking about here?
I mean, he even talked, I think, when he was with the El Salvadorian president about needing more prisons there for things like this. I mean, it's beyond, if you were to make a list of outrageous things Donald Trump was going to do, I don't think this would even have made it on the list. It is so just
punishing. I want you guys to pay attention. Pro-crime, pro-degenerate culture. Democrats, pro-crime. I want you guys to pay attention in many jurisdictions. How many criminals do the Democrats support? Pro-crime culture. Undocumented is a crime. Democrats protect it. No cash bail. These people have committed crimes. Democrats protect it. Look at the Democrat cities. More crime in many cases than employment. In many cases, crime is the employment. Pro-crime, anti-intelligent, anti-wealth culture is what the Democrats produce, create, and spread. We have to protect these criminals. In any instance, it's always criminals that the Democrats have to protect. Always. Whether it's criminal illegal migrants, whether it's criminals who've committed a crime and it's no cash bail. Why do the Democrats support criminals so much? That's my question. Why do they support crime so much? The crime-loving Democrats, like I don't understand it. And the Democrats have created an alignment with people and spread that crime-loving culture of Democrats to people that support them. They seek out relationship partners who are criminal. A lengthy rap sheet and gang tattoos are quote unquote sexy. They have almost as much value as a 7-figure bank account in many instances. Pro-crime, pro-stupid culture. Again, show me where this is not true. The Democrats provide you rewards for mistakes and punish you for success. We will tax you if you've lived your life correctly, and we will reward you with unlimited income, housing, and food if you make mistakes. True or false?
crazy. But the thing is that crazy things that Donald Trump says come to fruition. He will just do whatever he thinks. And now that this is in his mind, it's truly frightening that he might actually move forward and try to make a penalty for a crime being deportation for people who were born in this country.
Well, it's not being deported and dropped off. I think what he has raised is the idea that we'll house some prisoners in a prison in another country. And I have no idea whether this is legal or constitutional.
It's not legal or constitutional.
And I'm sure that'll be debated out. And if it's not, then it won't happen. But what he is saying is if you have extremely violent populations that need to be housed in a prison somewhere, what's the difference between housing them in a prison here or there? Other than the debate, I guess, over the legality of it. But that's what he has been raising.
Other than a pesky little thing called the law.
And
I mean,
I don't
think
under what authority would a president of the United States be able to deport?
Here's my question. Honestly, who cares what happens to a criminal? Who seriously cares? Just get them out of the places where people are not criminals. Right? But I want you to pay very close attention to how hard CNN is fighting for this. Yeah, shout out to Katsy. Katsy said, "Did you see how they went after Bezos for the amount of money he spent on his wedding? It's insane. If you got it, spend it." What's that guy's name? Zoran or whatever his name is. He's talking about taxing all of the people with a lot of money. I'm trying to be a person with a lot of money. Feed me liquidity. I see myself in the future as a person with a lot of money. I don't feel like giving it all away to people that have made mistakes in their lives. I don't feel like that. I feel like using charity as a tax shield, and that's about it. Shout out to Carlton. Facts. We're trying to be the new elite over here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out. We got to ask this question. Shout out to Win Lose Rug. Win Lose Rug said, anyone else notice how the black woman is like the image of standing against WS? You got what was it? Fannie Willis, right? And then what was the other one? Latia James, right? I mean, it's all cartoonization. It's all cartoons. It's all cartoons, and people fall for it. Like, they fall for it. Hey, listen, man. Hey, people can fall for it as much as they want to, man. But when Satoshi dollar parity is reached, I won't be able to be reached. Right? If you guys agree, when Satoshi dollar parity is reached, I won't be able to be reached. You know what I'm saying? So there's that.
American citizens to the jurisdiction of a foreign country, even for committing crimes.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the legality of it is. I don't know if the Department of Justice has issued a memo on it. Just for the purposes of this conversation tonight, what his point was, if you have extremely violent populations that need to be warehoused in a prison, he raised the idea of putting them in a
deal
prison.
with extremely violent populations. Just
I just think that I don't think you can say, I don't think you can avoid what alligator Alcatraz is. I mean, I don't think you can just turn a blind eye to it. I think it's anti-American. I think the fact that you're going to have individuals and populations in there that are stacked on top of each other, many of whom.
How is it anti-American when there's not any Americans in there? Like, let's just deal with that. Alligator Alcatraz is anti-American. How? There's no Americans in it. That other than people that work there. No United States of Americans anyway. Right? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said the Democratic organizations handed out stickers and said no one likes billionaires. I wish that my face was on those stickers. Hey, listen, shout out to the Kryptonians. Let's make that our goal for 2025. I want to be on a Democrat sticker of being someone that people can't stand because I got so much money. I'm going to make YouTube shorts of me wasting money on a Rolex or donating to a charity. And it's going to be called Take a Wild Guess What I'm going to Spend My Money On. There'll be a charity, and then there'll be a $10,000 watch. It's going to be, spoiler alert, it's going to be the $10,000 watch every time.
What alligator Alcatraz is. I mean, I don't think you can just turn a blind eye to it. I think it's anti-American. I think the fact that you're going to have individuals and populations in there that are stacked.
Hey, shout out to Carlton. Carlton said, "You'll be missed, Rob. You're always welcome to the lift bosom when you decide to deal with the broke folks." Yo, check this out. You know what I'm saying? Look, check this out. Dollar Satoshi parody is my end game, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dollar Satoshi parody is my end game.
On top of each other, many of whom without due process. And let me just also say this before it runs on clips throughout social media, is that I don't think there's going to be any Democrat in this country, including myself or you, Christine, who says that if you have committed a violent crime or any crime whatsoever, you shouldn't be deported. We're not saying that. You should be. However, the fact that Donald Trump this morning said you should learn how to swim
Right.
sideways. I mean, there are certain things about this country and the virtues of it.
He said you should learn how to swim. Hey, they be so, listen, they're so hurt. Like, again, this is the party of the emotions. Because he said so, man, who cares? This is, do you guys see it? This is the party of the emotions. Man, who cares? He said such brutal things. Who cares?
And the reason that Donald Trump and others are able to build alligator Alcatraz is because of the simple fact that you don't give people the benefit of their humanity. I also think that, look, if we want to have a conversation about who belongs where, when, how, and whether or not their citizenship status, and we want to look at everything, I mean, I would look at Donald Trump Jr. I mean, I would look at all of Melania's kids, all of Ivania's kids. I mean, let's just have a full conversation over who belongs here, how do they get here, their citizenship.
Okay, so yeah, let's actually look at that. Is Melania an undocumented illegal migrant? Shout out to Carlton. Carlton says swim sideways like Paul Wall swimming sideways. Swimming sideways. So again, what Bakari Sellers just did is he just threw out a quote unquote immigrant trope without putting the undocumented part in front of it. I don't know what Melania's immigration status is because there's many different immigration statuses, but I have this feeling that whatever her immigration status is, I'm almost 100% certain she's not undocumented. And we're talking about undocumented people. So again, this is why somebody will look and listen to this and say this is a complete blithering idiot. He must be swept into the corner with a container put over him, never to be allowed to speak again because his stupidity is cancerous and may spread. You're not even speaking coherently. Okay?
Status. Let's just have a full discussion about all of it. Why is that not on the table right now? I mean, the only person here, it should be Tiffany Trump if we're going to have this discussion.
Can I ask you
why? Why is the only person that should be here is Tiffany Trump? What is Melania's status? Is she undocumented? Somebody in the comment section, let us know. Is Melania Trump an undocumented illegal migrant? If she is, let us know. If she is not, then let us know. So if she's not an illegal, undocumented migrant, why? I don't understand how she would be part of the discussion. Just because she's a immigrant? So now, again, you got the Democrats throwing all immigrants into one basket when the issue is undocumented. And again, so once you've identified someone as a blithering idiot, do they deserve the grace of seriousness anymore? If they do, give me a thumbs up. If they don't, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment. Smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment. Hit that bell. And also, please share the stream to your social media.
Pete, to respond to what Bakari said about the humanity of it all. The idea that because you're an undocumented immigrant, we don't know who they're going to put there. You know, we already know that a lot of the people that they're detaining are not. So
here's for Bakari's conversation purposes, Melania Trump, formerly Melania Nos, is a Slovenian-born former model who became a naturalized U.S. citizen. She first received a green card in 2001, granting her permanent residency. Sounds like she got her paperwork in order. So what kind of conversation would there be to have about her per Bakari Sellers? What would the conversation be? She clearly has documents. Green card is a document, right? And again, how is this? So nothing that Bakari Seller said should even be it shouldn't even be a part of the discussion. Right? Shout out to Katsy. Katsy said they're even saying Trump isn't a citizen. I mean, this is ridiculous. This whole thing is stupid. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the reasons why, I am interested in this and I enjoy talking about it. But at certain points, it gets irritating. It gets irritating because the level of simplicity is off of the charts.
Don't have criminal records. Where is the humanity, and what place does it have in this conversation?
We'll have to see how many people actually end up there. I think part of this facility is to try and incentivize those who are here illegally to self-deport, to say, hey, you don't want to be here. You don't want to go to Alligator Alcatraz. So you should probably just leave the United States of your own accord. The DOJ memo is very interesting, going back to talking about legalities.
About denaturalizing
citizens. We can denaturalize citizens. That is a law on the books. So the DOJ is looking to prioritize the enforcement of America's existing laws. There was an instance just earlier this year where somebody had their citizenship revoked, I can't even say the word. It happened because they were convicted of distributing child abuse materials.
Yeah,
it's something that can happen.
It is something that can happen, but it's something that is relatively rare and is usually reserved for things like what you're describing there.
Okay, then what's the problem? Isn't that what he just said? So again, she just deleted her own argument. That's why she started stuttering. You guys saw that, right? She murked her own argument and then she started stuttering to try to cover it up.
It happened because they were convicted of distributing child abuse materials.
Yeah,
it's something that can happen.
It is something that can happen, but it's something that is relatively rare and is usually reserved for things like what you're describing there.
So if it can happen and it's relatively rare and it does happen for extreme cases like what he's describing, then where's the problem? Right? Where's the problem?
But one of the things that's interesting about that memo is that it says, in addition to heinous crimes, right? I'm not sure there's a lot of dispute about the code and what it says about crimes being a case for denaturalization, but it also says cases referred by the U.S. Attorney's Office in connection with pending criminal charges if those charges do not fit within one of the other priorities. So that's basically any crime. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. Maybe you're caught with marijuana. That's any crime. Number 10. Any other cases referred to the civil division that the division determines to be sufficiently important to pursue. So I think when people look at this, they look at this as a carte blanche.
Yeah, it's totally subjective.
To just say, Zoran.
So what this basically is here's the deal, right? This is what's happening. The Democrats are attempting to rope everyone into this quote unquote manufactured illegal migrant outrage by making it so that deportation is relatable to American citizens. So they can say, quote unquote, see, you can be deported too. And there are idiots, who will believe that because they're dumb. And then there are trolls who will run with the narrative because, they're on one side versus the other. And it's never really an examination of facts.
Donnie, you're a naturalized citizen. You're a high priority for us. We'll take it away.
Right.
What are the guardrails here?
And you just said it's a little loosey-goosey. This is not a good thing to be loosey-goosey with. Denaturalizing people, sending them to jails in El Salvador. I mean, you cannot, by definition, if there was one thing you wanted to have tightened up, it would be this. And you say the courts, so are people then going to be waiting in El Salvador on their knees, bent over while we're waiting for the...
Let me ask you guys this question. How many people agree that this undocumented outrage is a grift? This is Democrat theatrics at its finest. This is Democrat theatrics at its finest. If you guys would agree, this is Democrat theatrics at its finest, then give me a thumbs up. If you disagree and you don't think that this is Democrat theatrics at its finest, then give me a thumbs down. This is clearly Democrat theatrics. And again, there's not a lot of people that really dissect this in the most appropriate way, because there's absolutely an appropriate way to deal with this. There's absolutely an appropriate way to dissect this. And because people don't have the attention span or the brain capacity to actually analyze these things appropriately and create professional rebuttals, it just floats in the ether.
Courts to decide whether that American citizen should have been taken out of this country?
I don't know, but I do know that
that's not okay.
That you jump to the worst possible conclusion with nearly everything that Donald Trump says or
Facts.
does, including enforcing the laws of this country.
Facts. I wouldn't disagree. Shout out to Jesse. Facts. Jesse said, these are the Democrat lunatics TD Media Group is always talking about. Bro, facts. And he's absolutely, shout out to TD, he's absolutely right. These people are absolute lunatics. These people are insane. Like, these people are insane. Let me ask you guys this question. When is the last time you've seen a Democrat have a spirited debate with someone, and the topic of that debate is how a Democrat can protect rights of an American citizen or improve the life of an American citizen? When is the last time you've seen that? A non-criminal American citizen at that, I should say. Yeah. Shout out to Win, Lose, or Rug. Bro, facts. Win, Lose, or Rug said, absolutely, bro. Just look back at what they were talking about last year and how they behaved. Erratic and irrational. Fact, it's part of the culture. Is it safe to say that being erratic and irrational is a foundation of Democrat political culture? Is that safe to say in 2025? Shout out to Katsy. Katsy says, every time I engage with facts and receipts, they won't respond. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Said to the El Salvadorian president, we need more prisons there. I'm just thinking of what he said.
I mean, there are plenty, according to Trump, of criminals who are here illegally that he can deport. Why does he keep talking about American citizens? Why is that a thing that keeps coming up? Denaturalize.
Now, again, I want you guys to see how they're trying to make this deportation issue relatable so they can get more people on board. You see, Abby Phillips is trying to bring the conversation back. We're gonna reset here, right? We're gonna bring the conversation back to where the focus needs to be, and the focus needs to be getting more people involved and on board. So we got to bring it back to, we got to get more Americans to hear, quote unquote, you can lose your citizenship. Let me ask you guys this question: how many citizens has Trump removed citizenship from? Yeah, retail. Shout out to Carlton. Retail. Carlton said retail always falls for this kind of stuff. These are the type of people that get flushed out that fall for this. The flush out gang fall for this, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you're somebody that gets flushed out, you definitely fall for this. You know what I'm saying? Part of the flush out monolith.
People who have citizenship, who've gone through a process, it's an onerous process. It's not an easy thing to become a citizen of this country. Why does that keep coming up? And is this an open door for him to start using the same authorities that he's using against undocumented people against Americans?
Well, you heard him in the clip you played. He's obviously concerned.
So now she just there it is right there. She just completed her point of bringing the undocumented plight into the fear sphere, right? The fear sphere of non-immigrants and American citizens. If you guys see this, the completion of this circle, if you see the completion of this objective, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, then give me a thumbs down.
He can deport. Why does he keep talking about American citizens? Why is that a thing that keeps coming up? Denaturalizing people who have citizenship, who've gone through a process, it's an onerous process. It's not an easy thing to become a citizen of this country. Why does that keep coming up? And is this an open door for him to start using the same authorities that he's using against undocumented people against Americans?
Well, you heard him in the clip you played. He's obviously concerned about people who are extraordinarily violent being in this country. He doesn't like the idea that people have come here
violent
and
people
been
who are
extremely
born
violent
in this country.
And he doesn't like them either.
Yeah, well, they're born here. They're American citizens, and they
Isn't that it? I want you. Who do they choose? I want you to understand. Democrats are quote unquote choose the bear culture. I want you. Do you all see her choosing the bear? Democrats are choose the bear culture. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. We are watching live action bear choosing. This is choose the bear culture. This is what it looks like, live action. Choose the bear culture. We just got to keep these criminals here. I just love them. Choose the bear culture. I know they're violent. I know they're thugs. But we just need them here. Choose the bear culture. Okay? Now, my question is, what do you all think about this? Shout out to Shout out to Cameron. You know what I'm saying? Cameron says she's cosplaying as one of our sisters, as if this subject is bothering Black American women. You talking about like Angela Rye? You know what I'm saying? One of our sisters like Tiffany Cross. If you ask me, she cosplaying Pennywise. You know what I'm saying? She definitely cosplaying Pennywise. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said they want some of that thug passion. Right. LD style. You know what I'm saying? They sit up here talking about these migrants. You know what I'm saying? The economy is so bad, American people sit up here saying this.
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
That's why they trying to, you know, get Powell to do a rate cut. Cut the interest rates.
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
It's an onerous process. It's not an easy thing to become a citizen of this country. Why does that keep coming up? And is this an open door for him to start using the same, you know, authorities that he's using against undocumented people against Americans?
Well, you heard him in the clip you played. He's obviously concerned about people who are extraordinarily violent being in this country. He doesn't like the idea that people have come here and been extremely violent
in this country.
And he doesn't like them either.
Yeah, well, they're born here. They're American citizens and they have rights. So why does, I mean, I don't understand why.
I mean, you have rights until you're convicted of a crime, and then you have limited bare minimum rights because you're punished in a way where those rights are restricted as a result of your punishment. Again, I want you guys to pay attention to the criminal simping, right? I want you guys to pay attention to the criminal simping that Democrats do. Democrats will break their back for a criminal. So Carlton said that Jerome Powell is writing writing the American people the biggest paychecks in the world. Powell is the one, he's the one key factor stopping the tidal wave of M2 liquidity from going into Bitcoin and getting us rich. You know what I'm saying? That old man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Katsy. Katsy said, I can't imagine having a brain that thinks like these people do. I can't handle being all up in my feels like that. I can't imagine lying like they do, trying to play on people's fears. And I mean, and they go insane when they can't tap somebody's fear. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said, it's been so crazy. We had World War III a week ago, and now this. I'm telling you, Trump presidency going fast. Didn't I tell you guys the Trump, you're going to look up and the Trump presidency going to be over because it's going to go so fast because Trump is so weird and messy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's new drama. Regardless of what area of anything it is, it's new drama every single day. Like, I don't know how he keeps up with it. I don't know how he keeps up with it. You know what I'm saying? I left a comment on TD's video that he posted yesterday. And I said, it's wild how Trump rambles in a circle, but then somehow miraculously gets back to the topic of what he's talking about. Like it's interesting. It's drama every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like, if nothing is going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, Jerome Powell, if I was you, I'd be looking for a new job. Like, it's just always something. You know what I'm saying? Jerome Powell, you're fired. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just post this on Truth Social and let people repost it all over Twitter. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, we about to go all in on Iran. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take out the nuclear labs myself. Like, all right. On a private phone call, Putin had called Xi Jinping a punk. Like, for like, this is what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I actually, shout out to Tarek. What's good with it, bro? Windows and Rug said, hey, he always bring it. He do, man. It's wild. Like, I'm telling you, like, he'll go on a wild tangent. Like, he'll be talking about technology. Like, I love the children. The children are great. There's one. Hi. Her name's Daisy. She looks like a daisy. She looks like a daisy. Sweet Daisy. Sweet Daisy will benefit from the technology that the big, beautiful bill will bring. Like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm talking about, like, man, Trump goes to the farthest regions of the atmosphere on a tangent and then, like, will sharply bring it right back to what he's talking about. It's some wild. I think it's a tactic to, like, distract people because, like, you got to be all over the place listening. And if you have a short attention span, you're not going to be able to, like, listen to Trump. Because he's just going to be all over the place and then bring it back. And you forgot what the conversation was about in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear, like, he got elderly adult ADHD. Like, it's shit is crazy. This shit is wild, man. Yeah, it's elderly. It's elderly adult. Advanced is AAHDA or AADHD. You know what I'm saying? Advanced aged adult attention deficit hyper whatever, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like Trump, despite that, you know what I'm saying? He's extremely sharp for a person of his age. Like, that can't be denied. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's one of the people. He's one of the few people that's an adoptable old person. But again, look at how she's. I mean, we just gotta save these criminals, man. We just gotta save these criminals. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said Trump has done a lot, deporting folks, creating God candles, flirting with black reporters, beefing with Elon, dropping bunker busters. Like, bro, like just every day. Shout out to DSA. Every day, like, it's like he got a notebook of, like, stuff that he says, I'm about to disrupt the world doing this tomorrow. Like, and then he checks off the list. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to just throw this out there and see how people react to it. I'm about to call up a couple of my friends and I'm gonna throw a tariff on China so that the markets tank. I'm gonna tell these fools to buy up all this stock. And then tomorrow I'm gonna be like, we're in talks with China. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call Larry Fink, do this for my portfolio real quick. I'm finna go ham on China on Twitter tomorrow. I'm gonna tank the market real quick, buy up a whole bunch of shares of XYZ company. All right, then on Friday, you know, so I'm gonna let it ride so y'all can get y'all orders in, and then on Friday, I'm gonna be like, me and Xi Jinping just talked on the phone. Xi Jinping loves Chick-fil-A. He had Chick-fil-A with me. He said it was great. He said it was better than he said it was better than General Tso's. I don't know if he said it was better than General Tso's, but he said it was good. He loves Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? Like, All right. You need a navigation program to help keep track of a conversation with Trump. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. If you guys agree with Cameron, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Cameron said Trump adopted to the internet and social media so well they kicked him off all the platforms so Democrats could win. Yeah, and it still didn't work. And then Trump immediately he shifted when he had the constraints with the internet. He immediately shifted, and he shifted to blockchain technology. And the blockchain community was like, yeah, we you know what I'm saying? Like, we need somebody. XRP was like, we need somebody. Yeah, like Trump, like, I got you. I got you. Shout out to AB. AB said, is it meat or is Chick-fil-A not that special? I love Chick-fil-A, bro. I love Chick-fil-A. I love the chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A. I like the waffle fries too. You know what I'm saying? I love Chick-fil-A. I like Chick-fil-A better than Raising Cane's. But I ain't gonna lie to you though. I like Rally's chicken fingers the best. Rally's chicken fingers, like they got them from the grocery store and just dumped them in the breading. You know what I'm saying? Them Rally chicken fingers taste good as hell. They got the same type, like whatever type of seasoning that the French fries got. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rally's chicken fingers is crazy. Yeah, but I love Chick-fil-A though. But you know, Chick-fil-A, like, you know, they like a Christian conservative stronghold. But there was Chick-fil-A's in Ohio like long time ago, like when I was a kid, and then they just vanished into thin air. And then they like made a grand re-entry, and like it's been lit ever since. Chick-fil-A is the only restaurant that every day is as busy as opening day. Every day, all day long, is busy as opening day. There's no other fast food restaurant that has ignorant lines like Chick-fil-A. Like Chick-fil-A is so ignorant, they got like airport people in the drive-through like directing traffic and taking orders. Like the line be like wrapped around the building like 3 times. You know what I'm saying? I love Chick-fil-A. But it's crazy too though, because them lines be going fast as hell though. Like whatever type of logistics system that they got getting them cars through there, they be getting them through. But what's crazy, they get them through. You would be deceived by a Chick-fil-A line. Like you'll be like, man, I ain't about to go there. And that Chick-fil-A line will be wrapped around the building twice. You go to Wendy's and it's like 3 cars in the drive-through. The Chick-fil-A will have gotten all of those people through the drive-through, and you will still be stuck there. You know what I'm saying? In the drive-through at Wendy's. They be moving them people through. They be moving them people through the line at Chick-fil-A. It be going smooth too. It's never a hiccup. They move them right through. It's always crazy. That's one of the things I be looking for. Like if I drive past the Chick-fil-A, I always gotta be nosy. I gotta be like, man, let me see what the line looking like. Always, it's always lit. The Chick-fil-A line is always lit. Sun up to sundown. And they like the people that work there, they don't ever get upset. Like they never get angry. They just always happy. Like they got some type of like laughing gas in there that keeps the people fake happy. Because like they like if you ask me, out of all the restaurants that I ever been to, you're least likely to get attitude or to get bad customer service at Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? When you go to Chick-fil-A, you gonna have 2 people working the cash register at Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, Shout out to Tark. Tark says you've got to give props to a fast food company that realizes they're so on point that they literally can be closed on Sunday and still compete with the rest. Bro, facts. They do it like, shout out to Win, Lose, or Rug. They do it like a massage parlor. They tell everybody my pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said, Carlton said, I don't hear about people getting popped at You don't hear about people getting popped at Chick-fil-A, and like the Waffle House, IHOP, you know what I'm saying? Them type of videos with stuff going crazy. You never see that at Chick-fil-A. Like it never gets lit at Chick-fil-A. It's never any. It's a rare occasion that you see a video of like some wild ratchetness going down at Chick-fil-A. Like, why is that? Anybody got the answer for why is that? Not a lot of world star hip hop Chick-fil-A content. Why is that?
He doesn't. Over the history of this country, you don't think that we've been dealing with extraordinarily violent people for a very long time?
Yeah, he probably said we're not dealing with them tough enough. I mean, it's probably his view. I mean, you heard what he said. He does not like the idea that extremely violent populations are not dealt with in the toughest possible manner. That is basically his position.
Last word,
no, I think this is exactly what it is. I mean, I think a lot of it's rooted in the words that people don't like around this table. It's rooted in a lot of xenophobia. It's rooted in a lot of bigotry. It is what it is. We should enforce the laws of this land.
A lot of xenophobia and a lot of bigotry. So again, did you see it? The default. It's the default. Now, I want you to, how many times have people started to notice? Again, like I've been saying this for a long time, this is the default. Now, shout out to Carlton. Carlton said, I don't hear about people getting popped at Chick-fil-A. Listen, I went to a Chick-fil-A in St. Petersburg, Florida, and it was not a Chick-fil-A. I went to a Popeyes in St. Petersburg, Florida, and it was completely unrecognizable as a Popeyes. I had no idea. Like, I had no idea that it was a Popeyes. No idea. I was like, I've never seen a Popeyes like this. It was nice. It was clean. There were nice people working inside of it. I could hear myself think. Never seen anything like it before. I've never seen a Popeyes like that before. I didn't even. The building was made out of brick. I would have never. I was like, Popeyes like this exist? It was a rare earth moment. Like, I should have took a picture. There's literally, no one would ever believe me. I was like, this is Popeyes? They had a thing on there, like you could use an app and order the food. Like, they weren't out of chicken or out of fries this time at this one. Like, I'd never seen anything like it. And it was actually a Popeyes. That was when Popeyes used to have that little fish and shrimp meal. And they had those, they had that apple, like the apple pie with all that cinnamon on it. Like, I haven't gotten no Popeyes since they stopped having the fish and shrimp meal. I used to love that fish and shrimp meal that they had at Popeyes. I used to love that fish and shrimp meal. They stopped serving that. I stopped going. Because they ain't really no need to go to Popeyes. They food ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, me personally, I don't think that their chicken is spectacular. I feel the same way about Popeyes as AB Promotions feels about Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's all right. You know? I don't understand it. You're not about to see me banging out over no Popeyes. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to fast food, I love rallies. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to AB. AB said, I don't care. I don't know if the food justifies it. I can't source the long lines, bro. I don't know why the lines are so long. I don't know. I'm not saying that the food is it's not. I mean, I like Chick-fil-A, but I mean, it's not that damn good where, I mean, the line should be just a never-ending opening day. I don't know what that's all about. That's bizarre. Like, I honestly don't know why the lines be that long. I understand, like, I like it. I like Chick-fil-A. It's good. I was saying, but it ain't that damn good. I mean, the people be in line like they waiting to get some crack or something. Like, but the thing The interesting thing, the lines are no one ever freaks out. There's never any road rage. No one is ever mean to the employees. Like, as long as those lines are, and as many people as just are sitting on top of each other for as long as they are, it never gets out of control. Has anyone ever witnessed an out of control Chick-fil-A situation? I've never seen an out of control Chick-fil-A situation. I've never seen one. And it's always far more concentrated with way more people and way more of a work demand at Chick-fil-A than there is anywhere else. Because not only is Chick-fil-A always constantly packed, it's a fast food restaurant. So like, you're not even getting time between orders like it's a sit-in restaurant. Like, it's, like Applebee's or Longhorn or something. You just bussing food out to people inside and in the drive-through. Chick-fil-A is a mystery to me. I don't know. I like it, but I mean, them people that be making them lines, they must really like it. I can't justify the lines. I don't know what the hell be going on. Why the lines being so long is crazy. I have no idea.
And however, what we're doing right now, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning, is completely anti-American. I mean, the fact, simply because you are looking for a better life, and yes, we want to deport.
Bro, like, I'm serious. It don't make any sense. Like, it's like opening day the entire time. It never stops being opening day at Chick-fil-A. Matter of fact, I've seen sometimes where the lines were actually longer, and the reason why lines was longer was because as time progresses, more people find out that Chick-fil-A is there. Like if Chick-fil-A is like in one of them parking lots where it's like a strip mall and it's a whole bunch of other restaurants, Chick-fil-A got to have a giant parking lot because the lines are ridiculous. But they get people through. You could be at the end of a mile-long Chick-fil-A line, and I promise you will get your food before you do. If it's a 2-car line at Burger King, I promise you, if it's like 30 cars in front of you at Chick-fil-A, you will have your food in like 10 minutes. And they don't even brag about that neither. They don't even be like, we get your shit fast. Like, they don't even say that shit. They just how the hell we get to the front of the line this damn quick? There was literally a mile of cars in front of us. We haven't even. You'll be listening to a car. You'll be listening to a song in the car, and you will be through the line at Chick-fil-A, regardless of how many cars is in front of you, before the song is off. That's only like a total, at the most, that's like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. This shit's crazy.
And I want to be extremely clear. People who commit a crime, violent or not, no one is arguing that point with you. But alligator out.
I never heard of Chicken Express. Hey, I like Raising Cane's. Like, Raising Cane's is good. I mean, it's good. It's not bad. Like, I like Raising Cane's. I'll be having a taste for Raising Cane's every now and then. But I just like Chick-fil-A better though. Like, I like Chick-fil-A. But I'm gonna tell you something about Raising Cane. Like, see, if you could get the Chick-fil-A chicken with Raising Cane's fries, that's it right there. That's it. Don't touch it no more. It's perfect. Hey, don't touch it no more. It's perfect.
Alcatraz is the most un-American thing I've seen probably since last week.
All right, guys. Next for us, the president says he would arrest New York City's.
Hey, look. Chick-fil-A chicken and Raising Cane's fries. It's like, get off me now, get off me. Like, that's you know what I'm saying? Get off me. Don't touch me no more. Like, get off me now. Don't touch me no more. We done. No, you did it. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, shout out to Carlton. Carlton said, how come there are no Latinos on this panel speaking against the deportations? It's always black and white folks. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. White. Well, I would say it's because white people and black people talk about everything and everybody. You know what I'm saying? And they do it openly. You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, you know, if there's anybody that is going to be openly, brazenly talking about stuff, it's going to be black people or white people. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, why not just have black people and white people talk about it? Because they're not going to shut up anyway. You know what I'm saying? The Latino people ain't on there because they ain't trying to have ICE waiting for them outside the studio when they done with the interview. You know what I'm saying? So they're not, that's the occupation. If you're Latino, you know what I'm saying? Like, going to work is the new occupational hazard. It's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, so, you know, if you're, you know, they don't want to deal with that. I don't blame them. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do it neither. What the fuck? Oh, shit. What's good, bro? Shout out to TD. I'm like, what the hell? I thought that was Izzy or some shit. What's good with it? What's good with it?
We're talking about chicken. They're not talking about nothing. Let me jump in this stream real quick.
You missed it. Shit, you late. You know what I'm saying? You run on Popeye's time, bro. This shit dead. This shit dead.
This shit dead.
This shit dead.
I see you've been live all day for the last like 3, 4, 5 hours. Then when I check back, I'm like, now you talking about chicken? Okay, let me just jump in. It's not important anymore. So I'm just gonna jump in now.
Right. It wasn't important when we started the CNN video. Do you know that was winding it down? Like, hey, Carl,
That's funny.
Hey, Carl just said, how did TD get on the street? He just popped in like, bruh, man.
Just came right through the window.
Right. That's hilarious.
You was thrown off too. You was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Ain't nobody popped in the stream in a long time. Like Izzy would do that once in a blue moon, you know what I'm saying? And you would do it. Nobody done it in a long time though. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell?
Yeah, I wasn't going to, you know, I was just kind of casually listening, coming in and out, you know, and then like all of a sudden, like I said, like chicken and shrimp and Chick-fil-A, and I don't know what Chicken Express is. I think that was Tariq reviews. I never heard of Chicken Express. That's a
I never heard of that, but I'm about to look for it now.
Yeah, Chicken Express. I was like, man, let me jump in. I got about like 5 minutes, you know. Yeah, when you heard that, that was my wife calling just now. I was about to say like, hold on, let me take this call.
Yeah,
and then I was like, well, let me just keep going.
Nah, hey, don't let her. Hey, look. Hey.
All right, well, let me mute up real quick.
Yeah. Do your thing.
All right.
That's hilarious, man. So while he doing that, right, we're gonna get rid of this video real quick. I was actually about to end the stream, but we ain't gonna end it yet. We are about to look at another video where these idiots are talking about deporting quote unquote American citizens. So when they say they're quote unquote deporting quote unquote American citizens, what they're talking about is these people who are quote unquote allegedly, like, you know, naturalized and, you know, all of this stuff, right? So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this, because I'm gonna have to do another stream, right? Shout out to Win Lose Rug. Win Lose Rug said the voice caught me off guard too, bro. It caught me off guard. I'm like, what the hell? Who is that? You know what I'm saying? So how many people have heard that CNN has been promoting an anti-ICE tracking device? Now, again, you got to ask this question: why, when it comes to the Democrats and their quote unquote legacy voter base, right? Why did the Democrats not create a quote unquote anti-police app, right, for their quote unquote legacy voter base? But they definitely, right? They definitely got the anti-ICE app, right? So let's check this out.
Right now, President Trump's en route to Florida to attend the opening of Alligator Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. Yeah. It's the idea that it's some escape. We just say buy an alligator or a snake or something. I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business.
So now, again, I want you guys to understand this, right? Now, Trump is doing this. We know about the history of quote unquote gator baits in Florida, right? There's the whole controversy with the Florida Gators and their song that they sing for the sports and all that. And then there's the history of the quote unquote gator bait, right? The Democrats are going to take this situation and, you know, they're going to rope it into that and say this is the gator bait. You know what I'm saying? This is just like what they did to us. Which, you know, the Democrats, when it comes to that, it's the Democrats, but they say that they're us to do that Brandon Johnson MK Ultra stuff that people fall for all the time. Yeah.
Well, I heard them already calling it a concentration camp, and then I saw somebody put a what you call it, you know, camps under detention centers with Biden versus Trump, you know, and then they show like the detention centers with Biden where they were like literally like in cages, like wrapped around tinfoil. I think the tinfoil is supposed to be like a blanket or something weird like that.
Man, that's,
you know?
wow. They got him in tinfoil. Hey, that's crazy. They got him wrapped up like you about to put fish on the grill. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At least
Wrapped
it's
up
like
in tinfoil.
Yeah, like where they about to go? You know what I'm saying? They about to go through somewhere with some heavy radiation, all wrapped up in tinfoil. Like, what?
Yeah, then they showed the Alcatraz, the Gator Catraz or whatever it's called, you know, and you know it was plush compared to the tinfoil, you know what I mean, compared to that.
Right. Man, that's crazy.
Mm.
That's crazy.
But what's this video that you got on the screen? What's this one about?
Oh, this is Tom Homan going in on CNN for promoting this ICE tracking app.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about this app. I haven't watched this clip or looked into much of it, but I'm aware of it. Some ICE tracking app, you know what I'm saying, where they let you know where ICE is, and you can avoid them, you know, if you're in the area, which is wild. But do they have the same thing? Is there something similar like that for police, for like regular cops?
I mean, if you talk about like what's built into like navigation when they're like a speed traps ahead, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I mean, like, I think that, you know, like a speed trap ahead is completely different than, you know, an illegal migrant driving the car, and it's like ICE is up ahead. Like, I think it's like apples.
Yeah, it's like apples and oranges. Like you said, speed trap ahead versus like we're trying to take down like a drug dealer right now. So don't go, you know, so the drug dealer can look at it and say, oh, I know exactly where they are. Okay, I won't go over there.
Right. Or if they had a undercover buster app, like, oh, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm about to sell these drugs to an undercover. Let me get my stash and go the other direction. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Oh man. All right, let's check this out real quick.
Right now, President Trump's en route to Florida to attend the opening of Alligator Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. It's the idea that it's some illegal immigrants in case they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something. I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If you know, the snakes are fast, but alligators are, we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%. Okay? Not a good thing.
Well, that's tough stuff. Joining us now is Board Czar Tom Homan. Tom, let me digress for a second. Yesterday on this program, Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez said he wants you to focus on criminal migrants.
You said what?
I said Tom Homan always looked mad.
He always making a face like a fly landed on his nose.
Man, stay looking pissed off.
Yeah. Like, he always like ice grill, like Tom, he's ice grill, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got that ice grill. That's hilarious, man. He always looks irritated, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I would be too, because that's not really a job that I would want. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, but you got a cartel threatening to kill you and stuff. So I guess, you know, I'd be on point too.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel it. You know what I'm saying? My dude over here, he just chilling like it's tea time, and Tom Homan, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I might have to whack somebody real quick. Like, all right, bro. That's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna run it.
He says South Florida needs the others, that is, non-violent criminal migrants, to stay and work. What do you say to that?
Well, if he's a member of Congress and fix the immigration system, I mean, that's his responsibility. ICE is enforcing laws enacted by Congress. They're not making this up. I mean, it's violation of federal law to enter this country illegally. It's illegal, you know, to be here illegally is not okay. It's in violation of law, and ICE is simply out there arresting those who are in the country illegally. But let's get back to from day one, we've been concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. That's what we're focusing on. But in the process of doing that, if we find somebody illegally in the United States, it's not a criminal threat, but they're going to be arrested and put in front of an immigration judge. That's what federal law requires. ICE isn't making this up; they're enforcing the law.
So you could go on a work raid, for example, an employment raid, pick up people outside of Home Depot, take them away immediately, put them in the Alcatraz Everglades or whatever it's called, and that's okay? I think there might be a political backlash to that.
No, we are concentrating on public safety threats and not security threats. But then again, like I said, when we're out looking for the criminals, many times we find collaterals that, that are arrested because they're in sanctuary jurisdictions. Most of the collaterals are arrested in sanctuary jurisdictions, Stuart, because we're forced into the neighborhood. They don't give us access to bad guy in the county jail. But I've said from day one, if you're in the country legally, you're not off the table. I mean, it's not okay to enter this country legally. It's a crime. It's not okay to knowingly hurt an illegal alien. Because no one hires an illegal alien out of goodness of their heart. They hire them because they work them harder, pay them less, and undercut their competition who has U.S. citizen employees, and it drives down labor rates. So we're focusing on the worst of the worst, but if you're in the country illegally, you're not off the table. We're going to force the laws without apology. We need to send a message to the whole world. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's not okay to ignore a judge's order. Most of the non-criminals we're looking for, we have a final order removal issued by a federal immigration judge.
Now, I want to ask you this question, because I know you've been waiting to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about all these discussions about, quote unquote, can black people get deported? Can black Americans get deported? What do you think about all that?
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's just like,
why is it even a conversation?
That is unbelievably retarded. Like,
yeah,
like I don't even know how.
I disagree. I think it's very believably. I think it's very believably retarded. But I think we're saying the same thing. But go ahead.
Like you said, that's the Brandon Johnson logic. That's Brandon Johnson logic. The black folks are about to get deported. Like what? How? Where? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe Liberia. I mean, I guess, but like that, I don't see that happening.
That's the moment when Brandon Johnson has start having smoke coming out his right ear, and he'd be like, "And black folks can get deported too." Like what?
Yeah, like excuse me, and
right.
Saying the N-word gives black people cancer. Like what?
Right, like sir, we were talking about your $1 billion budget.
But I don't even understand how you. I don't understand how you get there. That's a wild leap of logic to say that black folks can get deported or somehow they're going to start getting deported. You know what I mean? Because obviously I know what you're referring to, the lawyer, whatever his name is, the goofy lawyer or something like that, or something attorney. Isn't that his name? Like something attorney, some goofy lawyer or something? I don't remember what his name is.
Yeah, it's the defiant lawyer, I believe.
Yeah, the defiant lawyer. Yeah. He made something reference to the fact that because birthright citizenship is like acknowledged by Trump, that it wasn't meant for anchor babies. Somehow in his mind that translates to black people are going to get deported. I don't get that. I don't know how you even work that kind of logic out. It's stupid.
You don't. And it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just wild. It's just wild.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know why that. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, that's like a preschool conversation that was written in crayon. Like, not even like just small crayons. Like one of the big crayons that's big for somebody to hold. That they hold, and then they don't hold it with their two fingers. Like they hold it with their whole hand and do the writing. Like that type of stuff.
He said with the whole hand, with both hands.
With both hands, yeah. I'm about to hold a crayon like it's a joystick and write. Like, really? Like that level, the level of stupidity that low, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a high level of stupidity, man. That's like a high level of stupidity. I don't know how you do that, but I guess it's effective because they keep saying stuff like this. Like, is it from Jamal Bowman saying that black folks have higher rates of cancer because we get called the N-word directly or indirectly, and black folks are going to get deported and all this other foolishness? Like, I guess it's effective. They wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't effective.
Right. Shout out to Jada Informant. Jada Informant said the real question is, why haven't y'all bought his book? The reason why I haven't bought his book is because I'm too cool to read.
Whose book?
The Defiant Lawyer. For one, I'm too cool to read. For two, I don't know how to read. So, you know what I'm saying? There's that.
Oh, he was selling a book in that video?
I guess, I don't know. I guess he must have a book for sale. Yeah, everybody sells a book. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Everybody sells a book. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just tell as many people as I can that I don't know how to read and see how that works. Hey, right, bro. It's over with if you full fisting a crayon.
why did I just like grab my like to get the visual? Like I just like made a fist with my hand, like I had like a crayon in the middle. I was like, oh yeah, this is bad. This is like full fisting a crayon is crazy. I literally did that when he said full fist in the crayon. I said full fist in the crayon, and I like made a fist, and imagine like a crayon in the middle. I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's
it's one of them big ones too, bro. It's one of them big crayons that come in an 8-pack with a dull tip. It's not even sharp, so you can't even write thin. You got to press on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, you got to press on it.
Hey, that's crazy though. Yeah, them arguments is dumb, man. It's so ridiculous. And like the thing is, like again, like with my biggest issue with people asking that stupid question is that with people asking that question, right? You actually have like conservatives now having to dive back into American history that they've denied forever.
That's wild. Like when you got to go back into the history books, like, okay, we said this wasn't real, but look.
Right. We've got to now use DEI to do our anti-DEI because the 14th Amendment was our original DEI. It's OG ancient DEI, right? But then, like, while these people have to cop to this situation that they've lied about and denied forever, there's literally no one, you know what I'm saying, piling on and saying, now that you have to cop to this in order to get this immigration thing straightened out, now it's also time that you address the other circumstances about this. No one else, like no one is putting that together. And I think that it just says a lot. You know what I'm saying? It shows evidence that that people they are truly liars, truly intellectually dishonest, and truly only want entertainment. Literally no one actually wants any of the things that they say that they want. Because right now you could get mad clips, you could compile mad clips of people making these arguments, bringing this 14th Amendment thing back to slavery, which already destroys the argument of how does slavery affect anyone alive today. So let's talk about how this 14th Amendment created diversity and inclusion, but left out the equity. And that's where you get your opening into how do you talk about how the equity was left out. Well, the equity was left out because of lack of access to the financial, prosperity of the United States. Now you got your entryway to a legitimate argument. No one's doing that.
Well, you should have said that in your stream yesterday because, word on the street is you was samboing for Trump.
Yeah, that's what they said. You know what I'm saying?
Word on these YouTube streets is that you had the tap dancing shoes out for Trump.
I had the tap dancing shoes on. I don't even have no tap dancing shoes. I got Brooks. You know what I'm saying? I wear Brooks. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have no tap dancing shoes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but again, like that the tap dancing thing, you know how like white people say that that calling somebody a racist is like outdated and like it doesn't have any effect anymore and yada yada yada. I feel the same way, you know what I'm saying? I feel the same way about Coon and you know what I'm saying, like Sambo and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? That shit is outdated. Nobody cares. No one's gonna stop having a difference of opinion than the mainstream thought tyrants just because you throw the word Sambo out or Coon out a million different times. You might mess around and get pulled up on and typed up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like if you do that shit enough. Like I said, with any of these people that be throwing that shit out there, I want to see somebody walk directly up to Herschel Walker and call him a coon. I want to see that.
It's not happening. Herschel Walker break you like a pencil.
Right. Yeah, I want to see somebody. I want to see somebody walk up to the dude that was a Heisman Trophy Award winner that was like 60 years old and 6-2 in strike force. I want to see them call him a coon.
I mean, in real life, don't nobody walk up on anybody with nothing like that. You know what I mean? That's strictly online.
It's just YouTube. It's just YouTube.
Yeah, it's just YouTube.
It's just YouTube.
Don't nobody runs around talking about coon and tap dancing and stuff like that in real life.
Right. Like the YouTube streets is as far as YouTube street team actually goes. Like no one's pulling up anywhere. Shout out to Jesse. Jesse did to Roland Martin. I'm not mad at that.
He pulled up on Roland Martin in real life?
Yeah, that's what he said. Shout out to Jesse. Look, hey,
where
look.
you run up on Roland Martin at?
Hey, look though. If you had told Roland Martin that you was an Uber Eats delivery driver, he would have let you just, you know what I'm saying, guards completely down. He would have had it. Hey, shout out to Carlton. Carlton said the so-called coons are usually in shape. Yeah, that's facts.
You know what's funny? I was gonna say that, and that I promise you that was on my mind, and then I just kind of let it go. You know, you be thinking about something, I was just like, yeah, I'll just whatever, right? You know. Right. But I was gonna bring up what's his name? Black Conservative Perspective. From my understanding, like he's swole. Like that's like a big dude.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Like he's not, I guess you can't tell just I guess because he'd be sitting down or whatever. But yeah, apparently like he's in shape. You know?
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, he's a big dude. What's his name is big, but he's Officer. I see the informant media. He said Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum just big. Like he out of shape. That's all.
I think Officer Tatum used to be a collegiate athlete, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was a football player. He was a football player back in the day. Yeah. So he probably had like some natural natural strength. You know what I mean? Like he was. I don't know what position that he played, but I think
he played the bench at a Division 6 school, probably. He does it. Had a highlight film on ESPN 11. You know what I'm saying?
Officer Tatum is 4'4". Ain't no way. That man's not 4'4". Stop it. It's not 4'4".
Hey, look, right. Fake news.
4'4".
4'4" is hilarious. Hey, that's crazy. Hey, he need to sit on a telephone book inside of a Mini Cooper in order to see over the dashboard. If that's the case. Oh man, that's hilarious, man. That is funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but my thing is for real, all these people that they, and again, this go back to like the quote unquote what makes a coon. We were talking about that, you know what I'm saying, in those little videos, the live streams that we was doing. If you ask me, one of the main reasons.
Hold on. I just looked it up. He played for I don't know anything about Arizona Wildcats. I don't know what division that is. Is that like D1? Is Arizona D1?
Oh, I think they might be D1. Arizona, I think that they probably D1.
Oh, I got to see this now. Arizona Wildcats, are they D1? Now I got to go to the AI. Maybe somebody don't know in the comment section.
AI ain't gonna tell you. The AI gonna tell you something crazy.
Is D1? I'm asking the YouTube AI, maybe. Yes, the Arizona Wildcats compete in NCAA Division I specifically. Yeah. Oh, snap. Okay, 6'1", 210 pounds. Okay, yeah, no, it's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's
decent size.
Yeah, he's decent size, So yeah, I don't know, man. Not too many people getting ran up on in real life, but
at the same time,
he definitely wasn't 4'4".
Them conservatives, a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, like, they pro Second Amendment, so they gonna, you know what I'm saying, they gonna have some fireworks for you too.
I mean, listen, speaking of Myron Gaines, he said someone just ran up on Myron Gaines while he was live. I didn't know that, but I know that my reference to what Robb is saying is when remember that one big dude, that one big swole dude that he was beefing with that used to work for him, and he came like to the studio and was like standing on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name is.
Allende.
Yeah, Allende, and Myron was shook. But Allende knew not to walk in because Myron was gonna blow his head off if he walked in.
Yeah, Myron had the pipe.
Yeah. He was waiting for old boy to walk through that door. If he would have stepped through the threshold, he would have smoked him. But he knew better.
That was he knew better. The Fresh Fit's so messy, man. But what I was gonna say though, bro, is like really for real, it's not a difference between like, I think that it's not really a battle of ideology between these quote unquote people who are classified as coons and people who are the quote unquote new school thought leaders. I think that what it is that they compete for influence and they call each other these names, but respectively they say the same message to their audience. There's no difference between like any of these people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how you got so many people on YouTube with the blanketed veil of Trump support. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got respect. I got respect for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, TD said, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking my talents to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at
Mar-a-Lago.
it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people had opportunity for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't make nothing with the opportunity. So, you know what I'm saying? Mar-a-Lago was offering, you know what I'm saying, a better work environment. And so, you know what I'm saying, that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? You find a better employer.
I had to pull a LeBron, man. Take my time to Mar-a-Lago. Like.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at it. I mean, that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, you either you have to compete to maintain your good employees, or better employers will take your good employees. And I don't think that a lot of the audience at that point that you were talking to, they clearly have no concept of that. They don't understand that. They don't get it. They don't understand the value of self-worth. No one has to sit around and do shit for free because somebody thinks that they should have something to listen. Nobody has to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody sits around cutting up videos and cutting clips for people to be sometimey with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, people actually put in work and spend money and, you know, like, put all type of investment and hard work into their infrastructure for people to just, you know what I'm saying, flake in and flake out. If Mar-a-Lago is offering a better paycheck, Mar-a-Lago is who gonna be writing the checks. And that's what people got to understand. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's funny that we went there because, like, I screenshotted this and I was gonna text it to you, but I'll just read this clip. I'll just read this comment right now because I had just did a Brandon Johnson video earlier this morning or whatever, right? And somebody said, "Here we go. Why make it about race? It's only a matter of time before TD becomes another Hodge twins or Candace Owens." And I was gonna reply, "Well, that's the goal."
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to be a millionaire? You're not gonna make him a millionaire, clown, right? The reason why somebody will become a Hodge twins or a Candace Owens is because a clown like that won't contribute to making somebody who used to provide them in-depth, original reparations interviews won't make that person great. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, you clearly cannot get that. You cannot achieve that type of audience servicing people that are supposed to care about these type of issues. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't do that type of shit, you have a vast, unlimited audience that's available for you, like Candace Owens and the Hodge twins. Who creates that? Who creates that environment? People that choose to watch versus people that don't choose to watch, and nobody wants to take responsibility for shit. So, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter about whether people take responsibility for shit or they don't. Realize that everybody contributes to supply and demand, and if you look at somebody over in a particular situation, there could be a reality that you contributed them to being where they at.
And you know what's so funny too? You know, as far as my channel is concerned, it really more or less happened on accident at first, you know, because I was just talking migrant crisis stuff, you know, and as they like to say, them folks,
like them folks that's up there on the screen right here.
Yeah, them folks, they just started pulling up. They just started pulling up.
Hey, and next thing
like,
you know,
oh, okay, you know, yes, well, since you're here, all right,
right. Next thing you know, when the folks start pulling up, your channel start responding in different ways than when your folks start pulling up.
See,
why is that? Y'all gotta tell y'all in the comment section gotta tell me, because like y'all are the ones that make the YouTube channels behave this way. So like y'all gotta explain it. When different people show up, the channel behaves in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, so you have a different group of people that show up. Next thing you know, you have like damn near 200,000 subscribers. You have the same people that show up. You'll be like undocumented and not even have 1,000 subscribers. Why do y'all do that to me? Is my question. You know what I'm saying?
I felt the pain. I heard the pain in your voice when you said, "Why do y'all do that to me?
Why y'all do that to me?" You know what I'm saying?
I swear I felt the pain. He was talking, and it was just like more or less about whatever my channel is, and it flips. And why do y'all do that to me?
Seriously, like what I do to y'all, man? Like, come on, what am I guilty of? What? Why? You know what I'm saying?
Oh man. See, I gotta run, but we actually do gotta like for those of you guys who don't, well, you wouldn't know, right? But Rob has been trying to get us back together for a while now. I've been the one that's just been BSing. Like Rob would be talking to me, and I'm like, yeah. That sounds like a good idea. All right, bye. And and then never bring it up again, you know, until Rob brings it back up, and then I just come, okay, yeah, bye. You know what I'm saying? But now that I'm here, you know, because there's like a lot of comments coming in too that like I want to address, but I don't have time to. I want to speed it. I want to go through like a speed record. I got to get out of here. You know, Carlton West said, I don't blame him either. Yeah, man, I'd take my time to South Beach. TDIC California has a new genius. Bucci Bear is now a genius at no jumper. He made it, man. He on no jumper now. You know, Bucci made it. I ain't mad at him. I mean, he's doing what he got to do, I guess. You know, that shift, Pan-Africanism, you know, that ain't really working. You know, got to switch gears. Okay, now we over here on no jumper.
What's that girl's name? The white girl that said the N-word, not the Shiloh chick, but the other one. The I can't think of her name. She was on Piers Morgan. Like she had made that TikTok video cooking or whatever, and she had got N-word famous. I'm gonna start. We gotta.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I remember her. Mm-hmm.
We gotta start coining. Hold on, real quick. Oh shit, hold on, real quick. We gotta start coining the phrase N-word famous for these white people that get famous off the N-word. You know what I'm saying? So she got N-word famous. You know what I'm saying? And now she has a channel. And on that channel, she actually made a reaction video to a No Jumper podcast segment that had Bucci Bear. And she was going in on him because like she was saying that like even though he's supposedly a black conservative, he was still on the We Was Kang shit and built everything and shit. I was dying laughing.
She cooked him.
She said you're supposed to be a conservative, but you talk about We Was Kang.
That's crazy. I got to check that out. You're supposed to be a conservative, but you said we was kangs. Yeah, man. But he made it. You know, that man up there with Adam 22 now. Like, all right.
Yeah, it's the Lily Gaddis. Lily Gaddis, I think is her name. The thumbnail had Adam 22 on it saying white people are evil, and it had Bucci Bear on there saying we built everything.
Oh man, but let me get this. I gotta get. I'm having too much fun. I guess you was right, Rob. I guess we do need to link up again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we gotta link up, man. We definitely gotta link up. You know.
But let me hit this one last shit. I gotta get up out of here. Tariq Reviews and React said, "How does TD feel about from home Vance's follow up with Daniel?" I'm not. Maybe you were like you were talking into the thing or whatever. The voice of text, it didn't come out right. But I'm assuming just JD Vance linked up with Daniel Penny. I don't know if that happened again. Let me see. How do you feel about Trump and Vance's photo op with Daniel Penny? I don't feel anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel anything about that. I don't feel any way about it. Yeah, I mean that's the answer to that question. I don't. It doesn't affect me in any way. You know, it doesn't affect any of us on this live stream in any way. You know, most people aren't even thinking about it anymore. It's just, you know,
like slavery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, I always knew that coon was in you.
No, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Look here. This is what the defiant lawyer actually said that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the defiant lawyer was like, nobody alive today was born of slaves. I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let me pump my
lawyer
fist
better
in
watch
the
out.
air. Yeah, let me pump my fist in the air, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. But man, let me get up out of here, man. I get up with you guys later.
All right, bro. Peace. All right, man. Yeah. So shout out to TD for coming through, man. That actually wraps that up for now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me shout out to people that contributed to the stream, man, because I appreciate you guys. Like I said, it's like rolling the credits. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys, man. Shout out to my man Betterworth. Make sure y'all show Betterworth some love. Shout out to Patrick. Make sure y'all show Patrick some love. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. Make sure y'all show Brooklyn Queen some love. And shout out to Catsy for showing your boy some love. All right. So I'm gonna try to get this together. We're gonna try to do the same thing tomorrow. Hopefully it's gonna be around the same time. All right. And I'm gonna try to get to them shorter videos. It's just time constraints. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I always got something for y'all at 1 o'clock. And you know, I'm gonna be making videos at some point. All right. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,